Legislators and interpreters on Zoom, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. Huh? You can go ahead and start. They can hear us.
Okay. All right, let's get started. Okay. Good evening. All right, the August 11th, 2026 meeting of the Monroe County Legislature will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Barnhart. Ms. Barnhart is present. Ms. Bartholomew McCoy.
Here.
Ms. Bartholomew McCoy is present. Mr. Baines. Here. Mr. Baines is present. Mr. Blankley.
Here.
Mr. Blankley is present. Ms. Bonnick.
Here.
Ms. Bonnick is present. Mr. Burgess. Here. Mr. Burgess is present. Mr. Chardy.
Here.
Mr. Chardy is present. Mr. Colby. Here. Mr. Colby is present. Mr. Cruz.
Presente.
Mr. Cruz is present. Mr. Vecchio Hoffman. Mr. Vecchio Hoffman is present. Mr. Dondorfer. Mr. Dondorfer is present. Mr. Frazier. Mr. Frazier is present. Ms. Hasman. Ms. Hasman is present. Ms. Hugh Smith. Ms. Hugh Smith is present. Dr. Jeffrey. Dr. Jeffrey is present. Mr. Johns. Mr. Johns is present. Mr. Keller. Mr. Keller is present. Mr. Long. Mr. Long is present. Mr. Mafucci. Mr. Mafucci is present. Mr. McCabe. Mr. McCabe is present. Ms. McIntyre. Mr. Milne. Mr. Milne is present. Mr. Morris. Mr. Morris is present. President Roman. Here. President Roman is present. Mr. Sinclair. Mr. Sinclair is present. Ms. Smith. Ms. Smith is present. Mr. Stefferson. Mr. Stefferson is present. Ms. Vasquez Simmons.
Here.
Ms. Vasquez Simmons is present. Mr. Udelson. Mr. Udelson is present.
Thank you. Please stay seated. I'd like to introduce Pastor Jack Young of Lighthouse Bible Baptist Church, who has been invited by Legislator Johns to lead us in a moment of prayer. Please come up. Yeah, thank you.
Lord, we thank you for this day that you've given to us, this gift from God. Lord, I thank you for this body, and I pray that you would bless us tonight. I pray that you would watch over this meeting. Lord, I pray that the wisdom of God would be evident here and that the righteousness of God would be carried out. Lord, I pray for each and every individual here as they make decisions for Monroe County. I pray for all the souls of the county. Lord, I pray that you'd help us to be good stewards of what you've given us to do. Lord, I pray for every conversation and even every disagreement. May it be done in peace and honor and esteem of one another. And may your presence be evident in this body gathered here together today. And we pray this in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Young. Just going to present you with a certificate. Pastor Young, a certificate of appreciation. Okay, now please stand as Legislator Keller will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Legislator.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Your copies of Day 7, July 14, 2026 are available through one meeting. Without exception, this journal will stand approved as submitted. Legislators, the referrals submitted to the legislature for the next committee cycle are available on one meeting as well as online. There are several proclamations scheduled this evening. Madam Clerk.
Would Howard Eagle please come forward? Also, Legislator Mercedes Vasquez Simmons.
The Monroe County Legislature recognizes Howard J. Eagle. Whereas it is the sense of this legislature to honor and celebrate the people and organizations which make Monroe County a better place to live. And whereas, attendant to such concern, the legislature is justly proud to honor Howard Eagle. And whereas Howard has devoted his life to the pursuit of education, justice, and community empowerment, serving as a tireless advocate for equity and inspiring generations of students, educators, and community members through his unwavering commitment to truth, opportunity, and public service. And whereas, throughout a distinguished career spanning more than 3 decades in the Rochester City School District, Howard has served as a social studies teacher, counselor, mentor, and advocate, empowering young people to understand history, embrace civic responsibility, and recognize their own potential to shape a more just and equitable society. And whereas Howard's leadership has extended far beyond the classroom through decades of service on educational committees, equity initiatives, and community organizations, including the Rochester City School District's Racial Equity Advocacy Leadership Team. And whereas an accomplished writer and respected public voice, Howard has authored more than 100 articles examining the issues of education, racial equity, socioeconomic justice, and civic engagement, encouraging thoughtful public discourse. And whereas Howard has exemplified the belief that meaningful progress begins with education, courageous conversations, and a steadfast commitment to equity. Now therefore let it be known that I, Mercedes Vasquez Simmons, Vice President, do hereby honor Howard Eagle on this 11th day of August, 2026.
Thank you. I would like to thank Legislator Vasquez Simmons for being so kind as to believe that the work that I've attempted to engage in this community for 40 plus years consecutively, along with others, is worthy of recognition. This is special for me because I'm being recognized side by side with the woman who will be standing here in just a minute, Miss Mary Florence, who is the widow of Minister Franklin Florence Sr., a man who many of us believe was the most effective organizer in the black community since the days of Frederick Douglass, a man who is largely responsible for building a sizable black middle class in this town. So to be honored side by side with her, to be recognized side by side with her is an honor. I want to say lastly that of all the work we've engaged in this community, I don't think any work that we've done is more important than the work that we've done around individual, institutional, and structural racism. Having said that, I want to remind the community that the county and the city partnered 6 years ago in 2020 when the fires were burning in the streets and the windows were being broken and stores were being looted, and the city and the county partnered through the Raise Commission and promised this community that they would address racism in, I think it was 8 major areas of life. And in the words of the great Minister Franklin Florence, here we are 6 years later, in his words, little has changed. So I would urge the county and the city to reinvigorate that effort, that much needed effort to still address the dire, serious issue of individual, institutional, and structural racism in this community. Only this time, tap those of us at the grassroots level who have been, as the saying goes, the point of the spear in terms of the vanguard in addressing racism in this community. Thank you. Thanks again.
Would Mother Mary Edna Payne Florence please come forward? Also, President Iversha Roman and legislators Mercedes Vasquez Simmons and Nazish Jeffrey.
The Monroe County Legislature recognizes Mother Mary Edna Payne Florence. Whereas it is the sense of this legislature to honor and celebrate the people and organizations which make Monroe County a better place to live. And whereas, attendant to such concern, the legislature is justly proud to honor Mother Mary Edna Payne Florence. And whereas, Mother Florence is a lifelong champion for justice, equality, and human dignity, whose extraordinary legacy has transformed countless lives through unwavering faith, courage, and service. And whereas, after relocating to Rochester in 1959, Mother Florence faithfully served as First Lady of the 37 Reynolds Street Church of Christ while helping to build a movement rooted in faith, compassion, and collective action. And whereas, in 1964, she co-founded FIGHT, Freedom, Independence, God, Honor, Today, an organization that confronted systemic racism and economic injustice through bold strategic advocacy, leading to landmark victories that expanded unemployment opportunities, strengthened neighborhoods, and created lasting pathways towards equity. And whereas Mother Florence made it her mission to empower women and children, nurturing future leaders, and reminding every generation that lasting change begins within families and communities. And whereas, now at 91 years of age, Mother Florence continues to minister to her community and remains steadfast in the guiding principle that has defined her life's work. We're all deserving of a world where all people can flourish. Now, therefore, let it be known that I, Iversha Roman, President, Mercedes Vasquez Simmons, Vice President, and Dr. Nazish Jeffrey, Legislator District 12, do hereby honor Mother Mary Edna Payne Florence on this 11th day of August 2026 for her lifelong dedication to building a world where every person is treated with dignity, afforded opportunity, and empowered to flourish.
Good evening, and I want to say thank you for recognizing me with this proclamation. It's on time. You're looking at the better half of Minister Franklin Florence, my sidekick. I am now 91 years old. We came to the city of Rochester in 1959, not knowing where we were going to do other than what we were commissioned to do for the Lord. But He gave us another direction, that we would lead in community activities, which my husband has always been involved, and I have been involved. I was in the fight with all the struggles that we had in Rochester. And I was not visible. You never saw me in the public, but I was always there to make sure the machinery worked well. I've seen so many changes. I've seen things that we're going backwards and then we're going forward. And I love Rochester. I want us to work together, do the right thing, make right decisions, and make sure when we say the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, that it means exactly what it says. So I know, yes. If we don't, we need to put it at half-mast till we get it right. And I love you, and I'm not going to speak any longer, but to your exposure, I would like to talk to the community about the real history of our struggle. Rochester is a model for the nation. Keep it up, but let's keep it with integrity, transparent, and make sure we do it with excellence. And remember, truth always wins. Truth that's crushed to the earth shall rise again. So administrate with that in mind. I said that, and I want you to do it.
Listen.
And I love you, and I'm with you. You're always in my prayers. That's not anything I'm saying casually. Thank you. I love you. God bless you.
Can I just take the papers back? Oh, no, you're fine. That's yours. Okay. Yeah. No, you're good.
Would Rochester Veg Fest 2026 please come forward? Also, President Iversha Roman, legislators Sue Hugh Smith and Rachel Barnhart.
The Monroe County Legislature recognizes Rochester Veg Fest 2026. Whereas it is the sense of this legislature to honor and celebrate the people and organizations which make Monroe County a better place to live. And whereas, attendant to such concern, the legislature is justly proud to honor Rochester Veg Fest. And whereas, Veg Fest creates an inclusive space encouraging meaningful conversation about personal wellness, food accessibility, environmental sustainability, and compassionate living, while highlighting the many local businesses, farms, nonprofits, and volunteers whose efforts strengthen the Rochester community. And whereas, the festival's mission aligns with a growing global dialogue surrounding sustainable food systems, including the goals of the Plant-Based Treaty, an international grassroots initiative that encourages governments, organizations, and individuals to consider plant-based solutions as one component of addressing climate change, biodiversity loss, food security, and public health through the principles of relinquishing the expansion of animal agriculture, redirecting support toward plant-based food systems, and restoring ecosystems. And whereas Rochester Veg Fest serves as a welcoming educational forum where residents can learn about these issues, discover practical ways to incorporate more plant-based foods into their lives if they choose, and engage in thoughtful discussions about creating a healthier and more sustainable future for people, animals, and the planet. Now, therefore, let it be known that I, Iversha Roman, President, Dr. Nazish Jeffrey, Legislator District 12, Susan Hughes Smith, Legislator District 14, and Rachel Barnhart, Legislator District 17, do hereby honor Rochester Veg Fest on this 11th day of August 2026 for its outstanding contributions to community education, environmental awareness, public health, and civic engagement.
Hello, members of the Monroe County Legislature. My name is Bob Franke, and I'm here with Renee Bell, Adam Duran, Caroline Foley, Beth Garver, Ingrid Hunt, and Kim Garral, and we're all members of the Veg Fest Planning Committee. Thank you so much to the Monroe County Legislature for your endorsement, this proclamation of Rochester Veg Fest.
So the Rochester Veg Fest will take place on Sunday, the 23rd of August, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Parcel 5 in the heart of downtown. Veg Fest is inclusive, accessible, life-affirming, and health-promoting. We're going to have music, yoga, kids' activities, cooking demos, free food, food for sale, books for sale, exhibitors, vendors, speakers, including physician experts, and information on every aspect of plant-based living. Did I mention we were going to have great food, delicious food?
Several area nonprofit organizations and businesses will be supporting VegFest, including Borg and Eye Imaging, Lori's Natural Foods, and Planty Pops. Our festival has also received generous support from the City of Rochester. Thank you again for the Monroe County Legislature's proclamation and its support for a way of eating and living that saves animals' lives and promotes human and planetary health. We hope to see you at the Rochester VegFest on August 23rd.
Would Abbott's Frozen Custard please come forward? Also, President Yves Roman and legislators Michael Udelson, Marvin Stefferson, Nazish Jeffrey, Sue Hughes Smith, Dave Long, Rachel Barnhart, Mercedes Vasquez Simmons, Carolyn Delvecchio Hoffman, Rose Bonnick, and Ricky Frazier.
I know.
You didn't bring it.
I can. The Monroe County Legislature recognizes Abbott's Frozen Custard, Lake Avenue, 100th anniversary. Whereas it is the sense of this legislature to honor and celebrate the people, organizations, and businesses whose service, dedication, and contributions have helped shape Monroe County. And whereas, attendant to such concern, we are justly proud to honor Abbott's Frozen Custard's 100th anniversary, marking a century of serving the Rochester community from their original Lake Avenue location. And whereas, for 100 years, Abbott's Frozen Custard has been a cherished local tradition, bringing generations of families, friends, and neighbors together to create lasting memories over delicious treats. And whereas, founded by Arthur Abbott as an ice cream stand in Charlotte in 1926, Abbott's has now grown to include 26 locations in the greater Rochester area and beyond in the states of Florida, Louisiana, Massachusetts, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee that all still use the same secret family recipe. And whereas the 100th anniversary of Abbott's Frozen Custard represents an extraordinary milestone and provides an opportunity to celebrate a beloved Rochester institution and the important role it has played in our community for generations. Now, therefore, we, Yves Roman, President, Michael Udelson, Majority Leader, Marvin Stefferson, Legislator District 3, Dr. Nazish Jeffrey, Legislator District 12, Susan Hughes Smith, Legislator District 14, Dave Long, Legislator District 16, Rachel Barnhart, Legislator District 17, Mercedes Vasquez Simmons, Legislator District 22, Carolyn Delvecchio Hoffman, Legislator District 25, Rose Bonnick, Legislator District 27, and Ricky Frazier, Legislator District 28, do hereby honor and recognize and congratulate Abbott's Frozen Custard, Lake Avenue, on the occasion of its 100th anniversary, and commend its century of achievement, tradition, and commitment to serving the residents of Rochester and Monroe County on this 11th day of August, 2026.
We'd like to thank you for this wonderful honor, Gail.
Yes, thank you, all of you. We love you, we love Rochester, and come on down and see us.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. You did a great job. Thank you.
Okay. Yep. We'll now recess the legislature to hold a public hearing. I now declare open the public hearing entitled Requiring Disclosure of Biometric Identification Technology and Protection of Biometric Identification Data at Commercial Establishments.
We have no one signed up for the public hearing. Is there anyone else present wishing to speak on this matter?
There being none, I declare this public hearing closed. Thank you. I now declare open the public hearing entitled amending Chapter 357 of the Monroe County Code to provide a tax exemption for surviving spouses of police officers killed in the line of duty.
We have no one signed up for this public hearing. Is there anyone else present wishing to speak on this matter?
Okay, there being none, I declare this public hearing closed. The August 11th, 2026 meeting of the Monroe County Legislature is reconvened. At this time, there are no formal committee reports scheduled for this evening, so we will now hold the public forum. Thank you to everyone who has signed up for public forum. We ask that everyone maintain decorum during this time. We will not tolerate any disruptions during this meeting from the gallery. A second warning will be issued before a deputy will be asked to remove you from the gallery. We do have several people signed up to address the legislature. Madam Clerk.
If you require assistance, a deputy is available to assist you in approaching the lectern. I'll call 3 people forward at one time. Each speaker will have 2 minutes in which to address the legislature. Please do not bring up any signs or props, do not single out any legislator, and please conclude when the buzzer sounds. Thank you for your cooperation. The first 3 speakers are Paul Frisella, Azelle Harris, and Phyllis Wickerham.
Our health system is in poor shape, and these problems should be firmly addressed. Don't just listen to this, do something about it. Many mental health offices are disrespectful and harmful to mental health clients, which is why likely in Rochester, crazy people, some dangerous, are roaming the streets, some going right by this building. The Monroe County Office of Mental Health is very bad with their service. They hang up on people and often don't care. Physical health facilities are just as poor. People facing severe physical illness are often treated poorly. Ambulance drivers and workers are often disrespectful, and the security at Highland Hospital is bad. One man at security there tried to charge me $20 for one piece of paper, and I reported him, and he was bothered by that. Insurance companies for the poor are bad, in particular MVP Health and Excelis, who very often have poor customer service and are willing to dismiss complaints, too willing. The medical office over this organization, or over these companies, whose phone number is 800-206-8125, is rude and unhelpful, and the Albany Health Commissioner office almost never picks up the phone. This is all bad service, and a strong regulator should step in to improve things at once. And since this is probably likely the whole country since the whole country is probably facing this, the regulator should step in for everyone.
Welcome.
Good evening, Azelle Harris. That was my legal name. It's been changed to Azelle Trayvon Ezekiel. On June 14th, a 19-year-old was shot and killed within 250 feet from my door. As a result of that, I've chosen to relocate from Rochester, so I've closed on a property, and this will be my last appearance here, ever. I have over 150 relatives in the city. My parents moved here in 1953. 7 out of 9 children were born here. And for me to see what's going on in this city, and we just had 25 people shot within a month period. And I'm a realist. Anybody can catch a bullet, as that 14-year-old girl, Sanaya Barr, and then Shakara Green, sad in this city. And this is something that we need to consider. So I'm being just very much realistic. As some of you know, I had made allegations against the medical examiner's office back on November 12th. I want you to know that the reporter that did that story lost her job. Yes, Marcia Augustin, her contract was not renewed, and I inquired about that. But she's told me this. She says, before she left, she says, watch your back because they're coming after you. And you know they did. When I told them to stop the investigation, within 3 months, they were still doing it. The New York State Health Department even called my school. But what could they do? You have to get up pretty early in the morning to come after me. But this is what happens, the powers that be, what they'll try to do when it comes to intimidation. But that don't work with me. And one lastly, Isaiah Jones. It's sad, sad, sad. The mother didn't even have that baby. She just gave it up at birth. And their caregiver kept that baby for 9 months. And then they ended back up in her hands. Now we see what happened. I just hope that they do investigation for CPS and do something about that. Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Phyllis Wickerham, Rush, New York. I apologize for the voice, but I have an issue that I would like to draw your attention to. You have an item on your agenda tonight, number 30, 260219. It's accepting additional funds from the New York State Office of Mental Health. And these funds are going to be used to personalize recovery-oriented services programs. And the thing that I noticed as I read through here is 3 items in particular were listed. Rochester Regional Health of Rochester General Hospital. Their contract amount is $359,046. And what they're supposed to be doing, their primary objective for individuals in the program are to improve functioning, reduce inpatient utilization, reduce emergency services, reduce contact with the criminal justice system, increase employment, attain higher levels of education, and secure preferred housing. What I noticed was the outcomes listed, and the actual outcomes for 2024 for this particular program, 10%. Another, Rochester Rehabilitation Center, $294,733 with the same objectives. Their actual outcome, 11%. The Unity Hospital of Rochester, $359,192 with the same expectations. Their actual outcomes for 2024, 10%. My question is, $54 million plus some change. We are spending on 25-plus agencies. These are just 3. How are we not holding them better accountable for their results? Less than 25%? My tax dollars do not want this, because money coming from the state is my tax dollar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next 3 speakers are Emily Latonja, Linda Ketchum-Pompley, and Kelly Cheadle.
Yes, you can't refer to legislator's finding.
Okay, so I won't say your name, I'll just say out of public. Okay, got it. Okay, thanks, everybody. My name is Emily Latama, and I'm here to express my absolute opposition to the Stone Garden grant. I understand that this grant goes back many years. The difference this year is that the Trump administration has instituted a vile campaign to rid the country of everyone who is not a U.S. citizen. People here legally are being targeted regardless of criminal record. The promise that Trump made that they would only go after the worst of the worst was a lie. The vast majority of those who have been detained do not have any sort of criminal record. At a recent meeting, it was stated there have only been 2 arrests involving CBP, Customs and Border Patrol, at the border related to illegal contraband. It was further stated that there were multiple pages of immigration-related incidents, but only about 10 where the county involved ICE. I find the lack of specificity problematic, and overall, this is really impossible to believe. One, I understood the policy through last year was to request language assistance for any non-English speaker who interacted with the sheriff's enforcement, thereby alerting CBP indirectly. Are these people being counted? 2, why would a federal government that really only cares about deporting people continue to give funding when they are getting so little in return? They have quotas to fill, so their focus is on deporting people, mostly brown and black people. Sorry. So what else is so bad about cooperating with CBP? In the 560 days since Trump took office, there have been 52 deaths that we know of. Many people, during arrests, I should clarify, many people have disappeared and are not accounted for, and who knows how many have been injured. Yet no one in law enforcement is being held accountable. After being forced by Congress to wear body cameras, CBP announced they would not share body camera footage when it was not in their interest to do so. They're determined to operate as a rogue agency with no regard for the law, violating the constitutional rights of many. This is a reign of terror. The cruelty is the point. People ending up in ICE detention are being treated very poorly with reports of rotted food, no heating, no
I'm going to need you to
sanitation.
wrap up.
Okay.
That's your time.
Oh, I can't finish. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Linda Ketchum-Pompioli. I live in the town of Greece. Please vote no on the Operation Stone Garden grant. The requirements for this grant changed from 2025 to 2026. In the Homeland Security Grant Program for fiscal year 2025, election security appears 22 times, but I found it only in places related to other grants, not Stone Garden. However, for fiscal year 2026, election security appears 26 times and in places directly related to Stone Garden. From page 8, for each state, FEMA will withhold an amount equal to 20% of the recipient's total award, including OPSG, which is Operation Stone Garden, until the recipient submits proof of compliance with the election security requirements. One of those requirements to strengthen the U.S. elections is each state must submit a plan for transitioning from ballot marking devices to hand-marked paper ballots. I am a poll worker, and as we know, Monroe County no longer uses hand-marked paper ballots. There's another requirement, actually from a long list. Utilize the SAVE system, which is the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services Systemic Alien Verification for Entitlements, to verify citizenship of voters and poll workers to, quote, prevent sabotage, infiltration, and foreign interference. The memo about Stone Garden from the Monroe County Sheriff's Department does not mention election security. Maybe that's because this grant is technically from fiscal year 2025 and not 2026. But my question is, if Border Patrol tells local law enforcement to cooperate with them for election security this November, for example, to go with ICE agents to a polling site, will our sheriffs and police say no, or will they say yes?
Thank you.
Hello. Good evening. My name is Kelly Cheadle, and I live in the Park Avenue neighborhood of Rochester. I'm going to admit it. At times, it feels a bit pointless to come here and tell you over and over that people deserve homes and that fascism is bad. And honestly, I don't know that anything I say tonight is going to change your mind. But I'm not here for you. I'm here because people deserve homes and fascism is bad. I've heard all of your justifications for taking the Stone Garden money. You can all support officers without automatically approving every request. Accepting funding in the past does not require that you continue to. And my least favorite excuse? Well, the bad guys are going to do bad stuff, so we might as well go along with it. None of those arguments answers the fundamental questions on your constituents' minds. When the federal government abuses its power, is Monroe County going to step up to fight? Or is it going to march in lockstep to help them do it? Authoritarianism is not built overnight. It is built through thousands of smaller decisions where people in power decide that it's easier to go along. Today you have a choice. The county budget is $1.57 billion. You can refuse this piddly $160,000 that puts our neighbors at risk. You can refuse to help build the surveillance architecture of authoritarianism. You can protect the people that you serve. And if you choose not to, please remember that next year, the people have a choice too. Vote no on Stone Garden. We'll be watching you.
Our next three speakers are Lori Ames, Esther Rifkin, and Mac McGonigal.
Thank you.
Our next three speakers are Lori Ames, Esther Rifkin, and Mac McGonigal.
Good evening. I come here today to voice my concern over this proposed grant acceptance. I understand that we have taken this grant since 2009 under the auspices of protecting us from terrorism. There may have been a good reason in the past to accept this help from the federal government, but we are a far cry from those days. Currently, the federal government is engaging in a brutal crackdown on immigrants in our communities, including citizens they deem could be an illegal immigrant. They're being detained without due process, endure horrible conditions in the detention centers, and in some cases, killed. This proposed grant is now the antithesis of providing safety to the community. Our local law enforcement has no business aiding ICE and DHS in their crimes. We don't even get to see the full language of the agreement, and we're just supposed to, what, trust Trump and the Secretary of Homeland Security? A vote yes on this proposal is a vote to invite chaos and fear in each and every community in Monroe County. Operation Stone Garden also provides for cameras to be installed in our neighborhoods, which can be used to monitor every citizen at all times. There is no oversight for how this information gets used, and that data should be regarded as private. A yes vote is a vote for a fascist surveillance state that will only ever harm its constituents. Today, it's anyone that looks remotely like an immigrant, as the federal government fought for before the Supreme Court in Nome v. Vasquez Perdomo. Tomorrow, it will be the LGBT community, Jewish people, and other minorities. History never repeats itself, but it does rhyme. It's within your power to reject their brutality and lawlessness in our streets and stand up for your constituents by voting no.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mac McGonigal, and I'm not a member of any political party. I urge the legislature to vote no on accepting a grant that requires collaboration with ICE agents. I'd like to start by pointing out that there are many illegal actions that ICE uses, and I'd also suggest that some people should maybe have looked at national polling to understand where the country sits with this. National polling is overwhelmingly against ICE agents' tactics. Okay? I don't know if people know that. Unnecessary physical force, attacking people who exercise First Amendment rights, detaining people without due process. Previous secretary didn't even know what due process was. That's the kind of people that are running this agency, people that aren't even trained. Sending U.S. citizens to detention centers 1,000 miles away from home without due process. Executing U.S. citizens and then suppressing investigations. Bad enough that you're killing them, but you don't even want to investigate what really happened. Entering people's home with insufficient warrants. Democrats here, from what I gather, there's a little bit of a split in the party here. You know, so I believe over here, most of the rest of my talk should be over here, because I think it's a lock over there. So anyway, I'll basically say, when you press the yes button tonight for this proposal, you're basically saying that you 100% agree with the ICE tactics. And that's what you're saying to your constituents. You agree with this. So have you mentioned that to any of your constituents? Do they know where you stand on this? I think it's more of a situation where all that's being cared for here are the Benjamins, the dollars that are coming in for these grants, and people are not part of the priority. That's the bottom line. I'll say one last thing. Right before the vote, there is a thing called I'll call it the, it ain't over till the fat lady sings. So right before your vote, you have the ability
Please wrap up,
to
sir.
change your vote to a no.
Thank you.
Right at the tail end of
Yes,
your.
thank you.
Okay.
Our next three speakers are Jason Youngbluth, Drew Herzig, and Robin Montemayor.
Hello, my name is Jason Youngbluth. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. It is not often that a county matter intersects with an issue of national concern, but that is the case today, as this body decides on whether or not it will accept a payoff from our corrupt and hated Department of Homeland Security. If you are voting Democrat, you have become accustomed to your party never delivering for you. No increase in the minimum wage, no single-payer health care, retreating on reproductive rights, and remember this year's government shutdown to restrain ICE? It ended without the Democrats getting a single concession. Is anyone then surprised that Joe Morelli is a proud cheerleader for ICE and the legacy of Charlie Kirk? Tonight, with a few heroic exceptions, the Democrats will likely defy the will of the people again. Though the Democrats of this body have all paid lip service to MAGA's threat to our democracy, those legislators that are in the Morelli Mafia will nonetheless vote with their MAGA colleagues to put DHS money in the pocket of our switcheroo sheriff and make our county complicit in the crimes of ICE and Border Patrol. You still have a choice, Democrats. You can, at long last, listen to the voters you take for granted and join us in fighting this criminal administration, which has on multiple occasions threatened to unleash the Department of Homeland Security against Democrats on Election Day. Or you can remind the public once again that you do not know which way the wind is blowing. At the very least, I hope that the people who have come here to speak will not display the good manners that the sellouts are depending on. I hope that with every vote recorded in favor of taking Tom Homan's blood money, the outrage that has been building inside of us will emerge loud and clear. Maybe the Democrats will finally hear that. For the remainder of my time, I ask that we all obey a moment of silence for the victims of ICE violence, whose memories this legislature is preparing to dishonor.
Okay, thank you.
Drew Herzig, Arundel Court, New York. I'm here tonight to urge you to say no to the funds connected with Operation Stone Garden. In previous funding cycles, there may have been some moral gray area in accepting these funds, but not now. Not when people are being abducted by customs and border control. Not when people are being killed in the streets by CBP. Not when people are dying in the detention camps run by CBP. Not when children in those camps are being raped by CBP agents. If you accept these funds, you are saying you are okay with abduction, with murder, with rape, as long as you get some money from the perpetrators. You must not do this. If you enter into this contract, you put a moral stain on Monroe County that you can never remove. If you accept these funds, you are complicit in abduction, in murder, in rape. Earlier tonight, you passed resolutions honoring people fighting systemic racism, and you want to enter into a financial arrangement with the government agency that embodies systemic racism. It doesn't make any sense. And do you really expect us to believe you that say, yes, you're entering into this agreement, but you will nonetheless uphold the law? When the ICE agents come and say you have to assist us, you're going to have the strength to say, no, we took your money, but now suddenly we found our conscience? We look at Hitler's Germany and we ask, how could they? How could otherwise decent people be part of that horror? Well, we look at your actions here tonight, and we can see people choosing the path of least resistance. We can see people avoiding the tough moral choices. We can see people here saying, okay, we don't agree with their agenda, but we'll just look the other way while we take their money. We're being fiscally responsible, right? They told us they were only going after the criminals, the illegals, the Jews. We knew nothing about the concentration camps. We knew nothing about Auschwitz. We were just doing our jobs. I wish I were exaggerating, but I'm not. This is fascism knocking at the door, and you're inviting it in. You must not take these funds. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Robin Momayer. I live in the town of Greece. I spoke before the Public Safety Committee on July 26, giving specific examples of the new terms and conditions that come with accepting Operation Stone Garden. Unfortunately, it passed through committee. 2 Democrats voted yes. Certain members of that body justified a yes vote by the mere fact that you had received this grant for the last 16 years. Some thought that getting to yes would be a straightforward public safety vote based on facts, and thought I presented false narratives, manufactured fears, and was performing political theater. For those of you that voted yes in the past, some of your colleagues claim that a change in the president or the leadership of ICE does not justify a reversal of your vote. I'd like to provide some facts about the grant that I believe will convince you that a no vote in the year 2026 is the only choice. Comparing this grant under Biden in 2024 to this grant in 2025 and 26, what has changed? Funds are now conditioned on compliance with the 2026 election security priorities of this administration. Grant recipients will be given target goals for the number of border-related arrests and number of overtime hours performed with CPP. Also new, did you know that grant recipients must comply with executive orders from the president? Here are some concerning executive orders that have already been issued. And keep in mind that by accepting this grant, law enforcement would be required to comply with any future EOs as well. EO 14159, Protecting the American People Against Invasion. Section 11 instructs DHS Secretary to take action through 287G agreements or otherwise to compel law enforcement to aid in the investigation, apprehension, or detention of aliens in the United States. Section 17 orders DOJ and DHS to ensure sanctuary jurisdictions like Rochester do not receive federal funding and to take civil and criminal enforcements against them. You cannot accept this money grant from this grant without reading its fine print, and many of you probably haven't. So please, do not draw our law enforcement into a contract that could cost us our right to vote. Is that worth our money? Is setting quotas for stripping our neighbors' rights of due process, dignity, and even life worth the money? Please wrap up. This year, please vote no. Thank you.
Our next three speakers are Sue Elliott, Donald Adams, and Chris Dygerp.
Good evening, my name is Sue Elliott. I live in West Irondequoit. Good evening. Accepting grant money from the Operation Stone Garden contract involves you, me, our county, in an unnecessarily financially reliant relationship with the current federal government. Should the legislature deem that the uses of this money are required to truly serve and protect all, including the most vulnerable in our community, a countywide tax increase of 25 cents a year per resident would yield over $186,000, more than enough to cover the contract amount. Voting to accept and participate in receiving this grant money is not business as usual. Since 2025, this money has become tainted by the lies of an authoritarian government preventing legal pathways to citizenship, detaining residents often without a judicial warrant, detaining people, including children, with no criminal record, without benefit of due process, in poorly maintained facilities, setting poorly trained ICE agents on a mission of terrorizing and often physically assaulting and even murdering American citizens. This contract offers no transparency as the information is confidential, even from you, the elected representatives who are charged with procuring the contract. Self-funding these operations may offer the option to remove the confidential aspect, allowing full accountability, giving the lecturer the oversight to fully understand how the money is spent, and help guide local law enforcement to further refine their actions in alignment with the 2026 New York State Local Cops Local Crimes Act. This county has often prospered through the courage of immigrants. Do not be complicit in allying yourselves, ourselves, our county government, with the current wave of anti-immigrant aggression. Find the courage to disengage from a financial relationship with this current federal government, whose actions too often prove unlawful and dangerous to the freedoms of many. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Chris Dygerp, and I reside on Rosedale Street in the city of Rochester. I'm here to strongly urge this body, whether you're a Republican or Democrat, to vote against this Stone Garden grant, which would help the Monroe County Sheriff's Office assist ICE in its really a reign of terror that's been going on in this country for about a year and a half now. ICE agents operate with seeming impunity, showing up with masks, dragging people off the street, and operating in a way that none of us has ever seen in this country before. Our country is devolving into a police state, and I think a lot of us are just sleepwalking through this. Let me give you some examples of the excesses of what ICE is doing right now. About a year and a half ago, a graduate student at Tufts University, who is from Turkey, was walking down her street in Somerville, Massachusetts, and she was immediately, as soon as she left her apartment, taken off the street, whisked into a van, and 24 hours later was in an ICE detention center in Louisiana. What was her offense? A few months earlier, she had written an editorial criticizing Israel for its behavior in the war with Gaza. It took her about 6 or 8 months to be released from ICE detention, and she went back to Tufts to finish her graduate degree and returned to Turkey. People with immigration court hearing dates are showing up for their hearing and not being allowed to present their case before an immigration judge. And as soon as they leave the courtroom, ICE arrests them. This is like something we've never seen before. The Monroe County Sheriff's Office should not partner with an agency that is causing such harm and fear throughout the country right now. I think you have to search your hearts and do the right thing. And if you truly search your hearts, you will do the right thing and vote against accepting this grant. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't need this. Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Minister Adams. Last month, there was an injustice that did in here. A bunch of white socialists got up and walked out. It's your job to listen to us. We put you in them seats. You Democrats, get your stuff together. It's time for a shakeup in this county. When I say shake up, let me remind you, when I came here in 2017, 2018, Sheridan Norfolk was over this. We beat up about 6,000 votes. 2 years ago, I stood right here, and I told you in November, change was coming. You didn't believe me? Why you got a Democrat president and a Democrat vice president? This time, it's a shake-up. Right here. I don't care if you're Republican. I don't care if you're Democrat. I don't care if you're independent. It's your job to listen to all of these people. And I promise you, don't think that it can't be done. We will meet you at the polls.
Thank you.
Our next three speakers are Asa Adams, Amy Diamico, and Kim Nelson.
Amy. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Hi, my name is Amy Diamico, and I'm here on behalf of Rochester Grants Past Resistance and Citizen Action. My grandpa Pete Diamico used to pass out candy or cash to the homeless, which is one reason I might give a lot of my volunteer time to bringing supplies, food, and shelter connections to unhoused people on a regular basis. Grandpa Diamico used to say, "Do your best, don't hurt anyone, God will take care of the rest." That's relevant tonight for two reasons. One, I believe all of you are trying to do your best. Two, people are hurting. The actions and inaction you can do can hurt them further or help them. Families experiencing homelessness are in one of three places: hotels with no food or case management, emergency shelters, or hiding from CPS on the streets in their cars. Tonight, I presented the legislature with draft legislation called the Pilot ASA Project. ASA stands for Add-on to the Shelter Allowance, which hasn't increased in over 3 decades. The ASA program will give families enough funds to afford apartments. I, along with Citizen Action, Rochester Grants Past Resistance, and Rock Acts, are asking each of you, sponsor it, pass it around amongst your fellows, and introduce it together, and vote for it. Homeless families are hurting. They can't tread water forever. They can't stay in shelters indefinitely instead of in apartments. Pass the ASA program legislation so they can access enough funding to find a safe apartment and pay the rent. Some funds from the state and some funds from the municipality. So I'll say it again. Do your best. Don't hurt anyone. God will take care of the rest. Now is the time to vote your conscience. Say no to funding from Homeland Security and bring the ASA program legislation to the floor together to vote in favor of it. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead.
I question the premise that integrated systems of policing and surveillance makes anyone quote-unquote safe. Palantir tested its surveillance systems in Gaza. Lavender and Where's Daddy made the targeting and execution of more than 300 Palestinian journalists in record time possible. They are honored as martyrs now, especially this week. This book by Omar al-Akkad, One Day Everyone Will Have Always Been Against This, begins chapter 5 with the following ironic words. To preserve the values of the civilized world, it is necessary to set fire to a library, to blow up a mosque, to incinerate olive trees, to dress up in the lingerie of women who fled, and then take pictures, to level universities, to loot jewelry, art, banks, food, to arrest children for picking vegetables, to shoot children for throwing stones, to parade the captured in their underwear, to break a man's teeth and shove a toilet brush in his mouth, to let combat dogs loose on a man with Down syndrome and then leave him to die. Otherwise, the uncivilized world might win. I ask you here tonight, is Israel more safe or civilized? What values are truly being upheld when we use quote-unquote safety as a cover for surveillance and racist brutality? We know Israel trains U.S. police and ICE in both their brutal tactics and integrated surveillance systems that were battle-tested on Palestinians. However, Palantir and Israel don't control the market on surveillance. Hypothetically, the uncivilized world might design Operation Accountability to surveil electeds, to ensure the safety of our communities. Tracking could include the whereabouts of electeds and their families, tracking of email, text, phone calls, healthcare, banking and investments and other data, all of which may be vulnerable to breaches or leaks capable of influencing elections and or relationships and reputations.
Thank you, ma'am.
The question is safety for whom?
Ma'am, please
Will
wrap
you
up.
side with liberty and justice for all or with power and authoritarianism?
Yep, thank you very much. Welcome.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished guests. To all you elected officials, I'd like to ask you a question and see can you really honestly answer it. Do you think you can actually live like some of the people that we're neglecting in this world today? If you can do that, square in your seats right now so I could totally look at you. I don't think you heard me. Can you actually survive or trade places with a homeless person? By none of you moving, that means you do know what the problem is. How on earth can you allow these kind of issues to happen to others if you don't want them to happen to you? Now, as of tonight, I am going to condemn all of y'all to hell, because that's exactly where you belongs. Most of you think you're religious. Your reaction's telling me you're more demagogue than anything I ever seen in my life. I warned you many times that have came here. There are people crying out there. You've got teenagers out there dying. They're proving to us that something is mighty wrong with the system. And you seem to don't care. And you just proved it to me by your actions. And you just proved it to them. I guess somebody else said it right. It is time for some of y'all, if not all of y'all, to retire. November is coming. The only thing that's scaring the hell out of me, we may not make it, especially with Donald Trump in office. He's trying to do something that is going to set this world on fire, and I'm hoping that we get to November before he finds his way to October. And if you think I'm joking, watch and read between his lines. They're very deadly. But you proved to me tonight where your spirit really lies, in your pocket.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our next three speakers are Jim Bearden, Daniel Pezzamenti, and Victor Hernandez. Jim Bearden, Daniel Pezzamenti, and Victor Hernandez.
Welcome, Jim. Jim?
Oh, okay.
Yes, go ahead, Jim.
Good evening. My name is Jim Bearden. I live in the town of Greece. Living where I do, I'm well aware that a lot of the people elected to represent me are Republicans, which I'll confess I am not. But for the purpose of this, what we're considering tonight, I would urge all of us to put aside our political differences and consider what is best for our community. And inviting Border Patrol and ICE agents into our community is definitely not the best thing for it. I mean, you guys have seen what these guys do in other places. In Chicago, in Minneapolis, more recently in Houston and in Maine. And if you think you can invite them in here and control what they do, you'd better think again. Because these guys have their own agenda and they are not going to listen to anything that you might wish for them to do or not do. So, I'm asking you to vote no on this. Paraphrasing Abraham Lincoln, the world will little know nor long remember what I say tonight. But they will definitely remember what you do tonight on this proposal. So I'm urging all of you to vote no on this disastrous proposal. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good evening. I'm here to talk to you about the pilot add-on to the shelter allowance, which I've been coming here for a while now, talking to you about housing vouchers. Citizen Action, Rochester Grants Past Resistance Rocks Act officially gave legislators legislation that will reduce homelessness and provide the funding needed for Monroe County homeless families to afford to rent apartments. We met with legislators. They arranged for us to meet with the DHS Deputy Commissioner, who told us to call the legislation an add-on to the shelter allowance. This add-on to the shelter allowance will allow, it's cost efficient. It will save $500 a month per family. Because right now, a family in emergency shelter costs more than $2,031 a month. And a family of four who gets the temporary aid to needy families add-on will get $1,521 per month. So that's a $500 a month savings per family per month. So the Children's Agenda reported that 8% of Rochester students were homeless at some point during the school year in recent years, which can lead to poor academic performance and behavioral issues. The ACT Rochester reported that half of Monroe County households are rent burdened, meaning that they spend 30% more of their income on rent. Partners Ending Homelessness, the HUD Continuum of Care organization for our area, reported that homelessness continues to be high in Monroe County, especially for families with at least one adult and child under 18 in emergency shelters. Please pass this pilot program. Also, I'm saddened and upset, but not shocked to hear that my rights are once again being sold down the river for a pittance. Don't vote for the Stone Garden program, please. You know, I don't know what, it can't be the money that is attractive to you. It's a pittance. It's nothing. If you're doing this to try and appease the Trump administration, please know they cannot be appeased. They will always ask for more. Always. No matter what you do, the outcome will be the same. So please do something for us and keep this horrible legislation from selling our rights down the river. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Victor. I am also here to say, to request you all to vote no on the Stone Garden grant proposal. You have seen multiple reasons why you should not vote for the Stone Garden proposal. In fact, I don't see any reason to vote yes at all. We are voting, now is the time with CBP and ICE being involved. This year is pretty critical, and we have seen most of the actions that ICE have done to other cities, and even Monroe County itself, when they have came to attempt to abduct various residents of our community. In addition, putting funding towards surveillance, with AI and surveillance, technology being where it is today and had far-reaching oversight, now's a good time to not say no. Say no this year and say no next year and say no after that, but there's no reason to vote yes. In addition, I don't understand any possible reason to vote yes, because we want to take on, if ICE does come to us and does want to take on this community and take residents out, we need to stand together as one. And if you all end up voting no, it's a betrayal to each and every one of us standing here in this room, as well as all the people who are listening. And people are listening. If you go to any protest, you can see all the amount of people who are standing up to ICE. Everyone hears the news these days. It helps. We want to be there with you. We want to have the community work together as one. And I request that all of you vote no today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next three speakers are Clifford Florence Jr., Roy Jimenez, and Clifford Florence.
Yeah. Hello. This one of you.
My name is Roy Jimenez. I'm a resident of Webster. I'm a retired business owner, a Vietnam veteran, and the grandson of immigrants. Probably not the only person here with some immigrants in their family tree. I'm here to urge you to reject the Stone Garden Agreement with U.S. Customs and Border Patrol. Under the current administration, CBP is not functioning as a law enforcement agency, but as a lawless and unaccountable domestic terror operation in service to a vision of America as a white nationalist ethno-state. Their targets include immigrants of whatever legal status and naturalized and native-born civilians who support their neighbors and friends in the face of masked thugs hauling them away with no due process to a gulag of camps and warehouses to be held in inhumane conditions, and leaving behind a trail of broken families, wrecked bodies, and corpses. If you doubt that terror is the point, consider recent events in Bittersburg, Maine, where a legal resident, not the target of any investigation or warrant, was pulled from his car and murdered by an undervetted, untrained federal agent with a history of violent behavior. When public outrage forced Secretary Mullen to propose a simple reform that might have prevented this tragedy, he was overruled by the White House. This is the way Stephen Miller and Donald Trump want the system to work. You don't have to go to Maine. Earlier this summer in the streets of Rochester, a native-born American citizen was pulled from his car, tased and beaten, not arrested or charged with anything, but simply left lying in the street with broken bones by masked federal agents for no apparent reason other than his off-white skin color. The actions of federal immigration agents have been repudiated and denounced by hundreds of judges across this country, and yet tonight, this body is considering an agreement to assist CBP in their assault on the communities of Monroe County.
Thank you.
Vote no, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Clifford Florence Jr. I stand here tonight in representing the FIGHT organization, which my grandfather started in 1964. The acronyms for FIGHT is Freedom, Independence, and God Honor Today. And one of the brief things I would like to talk about is the economic crisis here in Rochester with the RG&E situation. The city of Rochester, Miguel Melendez, the city council president, they have $500,000 of taxpayers' money that they refuse to release to do a case study. I believe, I don't have all of the numbers, I can be corrected, but I believe the county has millions of dollars, somewhere near the tens of millions of dollars that they just have sitting aside to do something with. I would implore the county to do that with the RG&E, put that money towards the RG&E. Everything that we've done tonight to honor the people that we've honored have talked about to do the right thing. Our city is in a crisis with this RG&E matter, and none of our political figures have stood up in the right way to represent us. We have people who are without power. We have people who are without the means to take care of their families because they're working to pay one bill. That's unacceptable. The gentleman just said, who would trade places with poor people? And all of us, I don't care what your color is, what your walk of life is, everybody has been affected by RG&E. Whether you want to admit it or not, whether you want to have the rich face or the poor struggle, everybody's affected by that. And I'm challenging everybody from Joe Morelli to Mr. Adam Bello to Malik Evans to our other officials. Please come together and do the right thing. Every Saturday at Fight Village Apartments, 186 Ward Street, we hold RG&E meetings. We have something coming up at Phyllis Wheatley Library, August 22nd at 11 a.m. We're imploring the community to come be a part of it. My Facebook name is Clifford Florence Jr. All of the information is there for everybody to come be a part of it, because this is not a racial issue only, this is a people issue. And we as the people need to stand up and make our voices heard with enthusiasm and persistence, or we don't have a chance of survival. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to say good evening to everyone.
Good evening.
May I say that again? I'd like to say good evening to everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I stand before you first of all to say to Madam President and Vice President that we're grateful that you were kind enough to honor my mother. And I really appreciate it on behalf of our family. We want to say thank you. Very quickly, my time is almost gone already. I have in my possession a letter that the late and great Minister Florence received from the Monroe County Legislature in February 26, 1992, asking the Central Church of Christ and Minister Franklin Florence Sr. in his lifetime to meet and work with the church and to work with the community on the issue of redistricting in the county of Monroe. And I wonder what has happened to the link between politicians and the community. I have some quotes that I'd just like to read before I take my seat. These were words from the late and great Minister Franklin Florence, the first, who we believe is the greatest organizer since Frederick Douglass. He stated to this community in 1965 through 69 these following words. He said, "Mark my words, fight shall not equivocate, fight shall not retreat,
and fight shall be heard. The time has come to speak the truth, to speak it fully and bluntly. The first fact we must face is our oppression is a deliberate as the indivisibility, poverty, slum housing, police brutality, racism, discriminatory employment, unequal education, political exclusion, and all the other indignities and injustice we suffer daily are all part of a sinister master plan to keep blacks in our place.
Thank you. Please wrap up.
Therefore,
You have to wrap up,
conclude,
sir.
we speak separately of these injustices, and we must remember
Sir,
that
you gotta wrap
oppression
up.
is seamless as
you.
a web. And I want to remind...
Thank you, sir. Yep. Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Our next three speakers are Hannah Wolasowitz, Travis Kovitz, and Lucy Newman.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome. All right. Hello, my name is Hannah. I'm a longtime Monroe County resident. I'm one of the co-chairs and proud member of the Rochester chapter of the Democratic Socialist America, and delivering this statement on behalf of my chapter. Today, you will be voting on whether you will accept $160,000 for Operation Stone Garden, a grant funding local law enforcement participation in federal border security program tied to Customs and Border Protection. Legislators must vote no. Coordination with the agency carrying out Trump's anti-immigration agenda is complicity. Operation Stone Garden would increase cooperation and intelligence sharing between local law enforcement and immigration agents and fund surveillance technologies like license plate readers. These are the same agents that are infiltrating our communities and deporting our neighbors. We cannot empower them through increased material support and data. Supporters of this legislation say that it's the same money the county has approved for years. Setting aside whether it was even appropriate to accept the grant, this is undeniable that the time is different. Removal orders have neared 500,000 in 2025, up more than 56% from the year prior, and more than 65,000 people are currently detained in ICE detention, and over 50 have died, the majority of whom have no criminal record. The racial content of Trump's policy is clear, and the county must refuse to be connected with those responsible for their enactment. We are disappointed by the Democrats who voted this legislation out of committee on July 28th. They have had the opportunity to reflect, and we hope that they have found the moral courage to vote no today. We applaud those who have demonstrated commitment to human rights by consistently opposing this legislation. Opposition to Operation Stone Garden is just the start. ROC DSA calls on our representatives to support policies that ensure all county residents are safe from these anti-immigrant attacks. The county must formally bar cooperation with immigration enforcement and use our economic leverage to divest from companies supporting Trump's agenda. Which way, resistance or complicity?
Thank you. Hey, hello.
My name is Travis. I'm from Arundecoit, or live in Arundecoit, constituent of Representative Long, I believe.
District, yes.
And, yes.
Go, keep going.
But I'm from Maricopa County. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona area, so the other border. And I find it ridiculous to say that we need such funding or coordination for border security here. I get I'm from Arizona. It is not the same. It is totally different context. In 2006, in Maricopa County, over 80% of undocumented immigrants that happened to be arrested were charged only with smuggling themselves. So the reassurance from the sheriff's office that they're not going to be part of immigration efforts, well, our whole legal system is set up to criminalize immigration. So even these other ways that, there are legal ways to criminalize immigrants. I'm also concerned about in the case of an immigration enforcement surge in the Rochester area, which I think is fairly reasonable considering we are a blue city and a blue state who has already faced lawfare from the Trump administration for the city sanctuary city status. In such a situation, what would be the role of the sheriff's office? Would their role be to protect the people of Monroe County, or would their role be to protect CBP? What would their role be in terms of investigating if CBP were to shoot someone here, as they did with Alex Pretty? And just finally, I'm concerned about inefficient use of resources and the lack of accountability, free money for things we don't need. For an office who just killed someone, Monroe County Sheriff's Office just killed someone, and I don't think they should be getting free money. So vote no on Stone Garden.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Since Trump came into office last year, we've seen a horror show play out on our phones and in our communities. ICE has been taking people from their homes for nothing, taking children away from their parents, shipping people to concentration camps in America and abroad, and shooting people in the streets. This madness has to end. If you accept the Stone Garden deal, you have blood on your hands. Just like ICE is treating refugees and immigrants as criminals, the RPD criminalizes poverty and homelessness. They routinely sweep people away from where they're camping, trashing their belongings, as if they're staying there because they have a choice. Here in the city, we have cops stationed outside Wegmans, as if the greatest threat to our society is someone who needs food. Yet we don't have that in the suburbs. I wonder why that is. On top of that, 8% of children in RCSD experience homelessness every year. That means that in any given class, there are several children who might not know where they're going to sleep that night. How is a kid who's experiencing homelessness supposed to do their homework? Yet when a child in this situation acts out, he's punished and eventually funneled into the school-to-prison pipeline. Imagine if we didn't criminalize poverty. Imagine if we didn't punish children for being the victims of a system that is rigged against them. If we simply provided food, housing, and basic necessities to people, there would be no need for all this policing. People would be more secure, healthy, and happy, and our communities would be safer. Instead, we have a system that is designed to keep people in their place, and that is by design. The rich and powerful stay rich, while the poor and destitute stay poor.
Thank you.
I am once again asking you to do the bare minimum to turn the tide on this housing crisis in Rochester and pass the pilot program.
Thank you. Yep, thank you.
Our next three speakers are Peter Peters, CJ Militello, and Amber Rapp.
Welcome.
Madam President and legislators, thank you for this opportunity to speak to you. I do not need to inform you that we are in a housing crisis. In Monroe County, there are only 30 units of housing available for any 100 people living on very low income. For 10 years, I worked with REACH and experienced firsthand the struggles of those who seek permanent shelter. Some of you may know that I grew up in a poor family. My father was a day laborer, my mother a domestic servant. But thanks to public support, we had housing. I'm here asking you to support the pilot Monroe County ASA project that will increase the level of temporary housing assistance. The originators of this bill see it as both a cost-efficient and even a savings in the use of public money. As projected, it amounts to 0.7% of the budget. I have two reasons in asking you to consider this bill. First, it is the humane thing to do. We are blessed to live in a very wealthy community, but this wealth is not spread evenly, and as a result, many just cannot afford market-priced housing. Though wealthy, our level of poverty is 20% higher than that of the U.S. Second, I believe that housing needs to be viewed as a human right. Government's role is to protect this right. Why do I say this? Because every faith tradition I'm aware of speaks forcefully about extending hospitality to the stranger. Protecting the right to housing is how we love our neighbor. When people are systemically kept out of housing, it is a matter of justice. I'm asking that as you prepare the coming budget, you will consider the 0.7% figure as a movement toward
Thank you very
justice
much, sir.
in the housing needs
Thank
of
you.
our neighbors.
Wrap up. Thank you.
Hello. My name is CJ. I'm with Citizen Action as well as the Party for Socialism and Liberation. I've come here today to ask the legislators to take initiative on our proposal to address the issue of housing. We are in an undeniable time of crisis here. The rate of houseless people has been rising and is projected to rapidly rise. There's a lot of other stuff going on tonight. First, I want to thank the community members who came out to speak against the federal funding proposal. As houselessness rapidly accelerates here, dumping more money into policing is only going to do one thing. It's going to further criminalize homelessness, which is exactly the problem of how we've tried to address it here for a long time. What do you think dumping more money into the police is going to do when we don't even address this housing crisis? It's going to make things worse. It's going to make things way worse for people. This is the same, the police, and, things are bad right now, but to say that things have never been bad, I mean, the police killed Daniel Prude here in 2020, and I remember what has changed since then with that. Housing costs are unaffordable. Homelessness is growing rapidly. We have a reputation here for being poor and plagued by problems. It's because of some of you taking backroom deals with RG&E and shooting down anything that we bring you, shooting down any single thing that we bring you guys to try to actually make things better. I'm done with the rest of what I wrote, actually. To address everyone in the back, 8% of homeless students, what are we doing? I should be up here in tears on the ground, begging and pleading for you guys to do something. 8% of homeless students is not acceptable. We all should be in tears up here taking over these meetings every single month until something is done to improve this. And instead, what we get is their theatrics when we come here, when one of the leaders of our group, Jaleel Muntakim, comes to speak, the Republicans get up and walk out of the room, right? They got time for that, but they don't got time for the 8% of homeless kids in Rochester. Something's got to change here, and if you guys vote yes to this Stone Garden thing, there's going to be hell to pay.
Okay, thank you.
Our next three speakers are Ames Grigg, Sarah Shapley, and Carlton Huff.
Welcome. Sarah. I am here today addressing a settler colonial government formed upon the genocide of indigenous people and built by enslaved people. This governing structure has created and continues to create an apartheid state where white people live a different life than those marginalized by a racialized capitalism that constructs whiteness as a way of securing housing, food, and citizenship status. We are still entrenched in these problems today. We're facing legislation proposed at the county level that continues to enact genocidal policies. To start with, there is a proposal to fund Stone Garden, which would give the Monroe County Sheriff the ability to collaborate with Customs and Border Patrol, creating a heightened surveillance and a continued enactment of violence based upon citizenship status created again by a settler colonial government with a constructed whiteness at the center of this citizenship status. I am asking that the Stone Garden proposal not be passed. I am asking instead for two things. The first, starting with this. Taken from a comrade who couldn't speak today. On the 200th anniversary of this government, there was an acknowledgement of the historical debt which this government owes to the Haudenosaunee Confederacy and other Native nations for the example of democracy as well as of a free association of independent Native nations. It is now the 250th anniversary, and Monroe County can honor and give recognition to the original people by flying the Haudenosaunee flag every day at the county building. The second is to make this a home for the people living here by providing actual housing. There are unhoused individuals still to this day trying to access housing. The reason behind why there is no housing is not because of a lack of a housing. It is because there are policies that benefit landlords who don't even live within the county, echoing the extractive imperialism of settler colonialism. There is proposed legislation that would expand housing vouchers that I am urging you to pass. This legislation would increase the rate of housing vouchers, the amount available, as well as giving it directly to those who need it. We need a government that has changed. I am just asking for the beginnings of that change. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Carlton Huff. I'm here as a staffer at Metro Justice, reading a statement on behalf of the organization that I'm hoping to get through in 2 minutes. So, dear members of the county legislature, on behalf of Metro Justice, we are writing to urge you to reject Operation Stone Garden funding. Operation Stone Garden requires the Monroe County Sheriff's Office to formally coordinate with U.S. Customs and Border Protection under a classified operations order that neither the public nor most members of this body are permitted to read. The Sheriff's Office has offered assurances that MCSO deputies themselves will not conduct immigration enforcement, but there's more to collaboration than the narrowly defined immigration enforcement. The federal government's approach to immigration enforcement has grown markedly more aggressive over the past 2 years, with operations that have swept up longtime residents with no criminal record, many of whom were pursuing legal and long-recognized paths to citizenship. They've intimidated local organizers and trusted community organizations. Their continued actions have inflicted real harm on families across the country, including the murder of Alex Preddy. Partnership with U.S. Customs and Border Protection in this moment when that agency is acting with so little restraint undermines community trust and puts our neighbors at direct risk, regardless of how narrowly MCSO says its own deputies will act. In addition, the grant application from the county shows funds going towards automated license plate readers. These systems do not just photograph the occasional vehicle of interest, they create a continuous, searchable record of when and where every driver who passes a reader has been, sweeping up the movements of people who are not suspected of any wrongdoing. That data can be repurposed in ways the county cannot fully control after the fact, and we have no assurance that Monroe County residents' location data would be walled off from an administration and a CBP that have made very clear their willingness to use every tool available for immigration enforcement. The most effective safeguard against this kind of misuse is not a data sharing policy or an internal directive that can be quietly rewritten. The best way to prevent data from being used against Monroe County residents is by not collecting it in the first place. So we just urge the legislature we urge the legislature to reject this grant, and we think that residents should know where their local government stands when federal agents come knocking. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next three speakers are Kevin Stewart, George Elkind, and Robin Wilt.
Hello. Welcome. Hello, hello.
I can't tell you how strange and frankly infuriating it is to stand in front of a body with a Democratic majority and feel like we have to convince you not to fund fascism. There are many of you who have already decided to vote against this funding, and I want to acknowledge that choice and the strength of character it takes to stand on the right side of history. To those of you who have not yet decided, let me be clear. The fact that we've been approving this funding for over a decade means nothing except the willingness of this body to be complicit in the past. Federal forces are abducting our neighbors, terrorizing our most trusted community centers, and executing people in the street. A vote approving this contract makes us a part of this machine, when we should be using every tool at our disposal to resist it. Instead of funding fascism and building surveillance systems that are right now being challenged by the NYCLU, we should be listening to our community. And this community has been making their needs clear for a very long time. We are in a housing crisis. Passing this pilot program will not solve this crisis. It is the bare minimum required to address the skyrocketing housing cost in our county. As I said, many of you are already on the right side of these issues. We see you and we thank you. For those of you who are not swayed by the legacy your decisions will leave behind or the impact they will have on our communities, I urge you to think of yourselves. There is a progressive movement building in this country, and based on what I see in this room, in the lobby downstairs, and in the streets of our county, it has arrived here in Monroe County as well. We demand leaders who will use their voice and their vote to fight for working class people and to stand against fascism. So the only question left before the esteemed members of this body is this: which side are you on? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is George Elkind. I'm on staff with Metro Justice, and I'm an educator and have been involved in community and labor organizing here for several years now. CBP exists now plainly as an arm of the Trump administration, working hand in hand with ICE to terrorize our neighbors and trample on all of our rights. Aiding their data collection and enforcement efforts helps no one in this community. On the contrary, it endangers all of us as they work to suppress speech, protest, and peaceful advocacy in moments when these actions and protected activities are desperately needed. The lack of clarity and lack of constraint on the uses of these funds poses grave risks to many here. CBP, as an ICE-aligned agency, is trampling on civil rights of not just immigrants, but anyone who'd stand with them as neighbors. This is the ethical crisis of our moment, at least domestically. With hundreds seized from this county since Trump's inauguration, most having harmed no one and taken under flimsy pretexts, the response to this offer of grant funding, selling our rights down the river, as one of the prior speakers said, should be very clear. Say no to these funds which do nothing to serve this community. Thank you.
My name is Robin Wilt. I live in Brighton, and I am a first-generation American, 14th Amendment baby. So I want to thank all the members of the county legislature who are leaning in favor of rejecting Operation Stone Garden funding. You are firmly on the right side of history. It is beyond frustrating that at a time when government entities are increasingly moving away from collaborating with the Department of Homeland Security through mechanisms like Operation Stone Garden, this county is moving in the opposite direction. Critics have expressed concern that increasing coordination between local law enforcement and federal authorities undermines the trust between immigrant communities and law enforcement, while draining resources from more urgent public safety priorities. In fact, that's the very point made in the Local Cops, Local Crimes Act, passed by the state legislature just last month. Those outside of the law enforcement community are not the only ones who feel that the mission of Operation Stone Garden is at odds with community safety. Even some law enforcement leaders argue that Operation Stone Garden's performance metrics are increasingly in tension with crime reduction and other priorities. While Operation Stone Garden's grant primarily tracks efforts such as miles driven, hours worked, number of traffic stops, immigration-related contacts, and numbers of arrests, it omits metrics relating to longer-term public safety efforts, including community engagement, problem solving, and crime prevention. It is counterintuitive to enter into an agreement with CBP and DHS that will decrease the trust in our law enforcement institutions and undermine our overall community safety while putting black and brown bodies at greater risk. Moreover, accepting Operation Stone Garden funding puts Monroe County Sheriff's Office and other law enforcement agencies that cooperate with CBP under its auspices in legal peril. The OIT was established as part of the package of state laws designed to limit state and local involvement in federal immigration enforcement, safeguard local resources and public safety, and protect immigrant communities across New York. In the name of community safety, I strongly urge this body to reject Operation Stone Garden grant funding.
Thank you.
Our next three speakers are Wanda Wilson, Michael Smith, and Jillian Evans.
Good evening, everyone. First, giving honor to God. My name is Pastor Wanda Wilson, and I serve as the executive director for an organization called RockX. And I'm also one of the community partners who serve our most vulnerable community members. And one way that we do that is via the Housing Search Navigator program, which is a pilot program that is scheduled to be terminated at the end of October of this year. But in addition to that, I'm standing here tonight before you to advocate for the Monroe County pilot add-on to shelter allowance program and the legislation, and asking for your support. The legislation will reduce homelessness and provide funding needed for the Monroe County homeless families to afford rent for apartments. But by adding on the state-paid shelter allowance, with local funding up to fair market rent costs, people will be able to leave costly emergency shelters and hotels and move into apartments. The key to this legislation is the add-on to the shelter allowance. And here's why this is important. It's a hard story to tell. We currently have a participant that has transitioned from a homeless shelter into a two-bedroom apartment as a result of her support from that Housing Search Navigator program. The amount of the shelter allowance that she was being offered from DHS didn't allow her to find affordable, suitable housing while she was searching for work while in the shelter. But due to her determination, she was able to find employment and transition out of the shelter with no DHS assistance. However, 85%, come on, that's worth it. She wasn't looking for a handout, but while 85% of her income was going to go to rent. It's been about 9 months now since she has been successful through this program. And we decided to check up on her because part of that program that is getting cut now is an aftercare program. My worker came to my door distraught, telling me the symptoms that this young woman was
Please wrap
facing.
up.
A drooling face, slurred speech, wasn't able to talk, was losing it over
Thank
the
you,
phone.
Pastor. Thank
I
you.
immediately told her to call
Wrap up.
911. She had stroked.
We
We saw her,
wrap it up.
she
Thank
sent us
you.
pictures 3 months ago, 3 days
It's
ago.
time to go. Yeah, thank you. Yes, thank you very much.
But imagine if when she would have left,
Keep going.
that she would have had that supplement to help her to pay for rent. She
Yeah.
wouldn't leave and stop working, and that is.
Thank you. Next people. Next person. Thank you. Thank you very much. Point of order. Yes. Yes. Pastor Wanda, some decorum, please. If I'm going to have to ask to move you from the gallery. So, go. Can you please remove her from the gallery? I love the passion. I love the passion, but yes, go ahead. Yes, thank you. Go ahead. Thank you. Please. Officers. There you go. Thank you. Here you go. Thank you very much. Next person. Thank you.
I just want to say first and foremost that, housing is a human right, and I stand in total solidarity with that movement. That even if I lose time, even if I lose time, based on the last speaker, I'm completely fine with that. But with that being said, I come here on my first time. I feel compelled to be here as a testament to how dire this situation really is and the issue that comes out of the Stone Garden Grant. So I am very vehemently opposed and ask the legislators to consider what is on the table here. I think it's important to preface this to remember that this is a sheriff's department. We have the only Democratic sheriff who attended a conference of sheriffs opposing the new state immigration protections. On top of that, we have, a sheriff that's not willing to be transparent about immigration policy. If we go back to the change of policy in February, there was very little transparency regarding that, and it was helpful for his department, in his critics' eyes, to be transparent about that. The voters are paying attention, and this is something that a lot of people are speaking out, and I think it's very important that legislators realize that this is an issue that can put your election and your future on the line in this career. We are paying attention. And the level of transparency around this issue is a major problem, but it's not the only problem. Let's say that the argument being situated here is correct, that it's about terrorism. Well, I think we should be asking, what is a terrorist? And that is not an absurd question in this climate. Renee Good was considered a terrorist. Alex Preddy was considered a terrorist. So we have to be really considerate about considering deeply what it means when they say they're here to combat terrorism. I also want to remember that it was Joint Task Terrorism Force Memorandum released last September 2025 by the administration that even pro-transgender attitudes can be considered suspicions for terrorism. So where does this line end? What does this really mean and who are we after? And also just want to put out that it is about immigration. That's further put out by Metro Justice about that they were speaking to the information collecting. The FOI documents prove that...
Thank you. Please wrap up.
Understood. The FOI documents prove that this information is being...
Wrap up. Thank you. Please wrap up. Thank you. Our last two speakers are Quinn Mooney and Gina Jamal Wally. Thank you. This concludes the public forum.
All right,
Thank you very much. Okay, we will now proceed with consideration of local laws. Will the clerk please read the first item on the agenda?
Item number 1, referral number 26-0180.LL, providing that local law, intro number 277 of 2026, entitled Requiring Disclosure of Biometric Identification Technology and Protection of Biometric Identification Data at Commercial Establishments, as amended, be lifted from the table.
This is moved by Legislator Barnhart, seconded by Legislator Long. This is to lift from the table. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? Okay. Item carries. Next item.
Item number 2, referral number 26-0180.LL, providing that resolution intro number 277 of 2026 be amended.
Moved by Legislator Long, seconded by moved by Legislator Barnhart, seconded by Legislator Long. This is to amend. Is there any discussion? An amendment is in your agenda, but if you need a copy, we can provide that to you. Does anyone need a copy? No? Okay, it is in your, so is there any discussion? Yes, Legislator McCabe.
Yes, Madam President, I rise to explain my vote on this amendment. Throughout this process, our conference has raised a number of concerns with this legislation in committee and again on the floor, including our concerns about the breadth of the definitions, the impact on legitimate loss prevention and public safety uses, and the potential burden and liability placed on local businesses. At the time, many of those concerns were dismissed, so I'm truly pleased to see that they have now been heard and that this amendment finally addresses many of the very issues we identified from the beginning. The amendment narrows the definition of biometric identifier information, recognizes legitimate business use such as theft prevention, security, and provides additional exemptions, and adds an internet standard and a cure period before enforcement. Those are substantial improvements to this legislation. I still do not believe the bill is perfect, and there remain issues that deserve further discussion before final adoption, but this amendment moves the legislation significantly in the right direction. We appreciate that the concerns we raised were ultimately taken seriously, and we hope that over the coming weeks we continue to working across the aisle to address the remaining issues and reach a final solution that everyone can support. For those reasons, I will be voting in favor of the amendment. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next item. Thank you all. Sorry?
Legislator McIntyre and Legislator Charity, can you repeat your votes, please?
Aye.
Okay.
Item number 3, referral number 26-0180.LL, providing that local law intro number 277 of 2026, entitled Requiring Disclosure of Biometric Identification Technology and Protection of Biometric Identification Data at Commercial Establishments, as amended, be tabled.
Moved by Legislator Barnhart, seconded by Legislator Long. This is to table. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 4, referral number 26-0180.LL, fixing public hearing on local law intro number 277 of 2026, entitled Requiring Disclosure of Biometric Identification Technology and Protection of Biometric Identification Data at Commercial Establishments, as amended.
Moved by Legislator Barnhart, seconded by Legislator Long. This is to set a public hearing. Is there any discussion? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 5, referral number 26-0182.LL, providing that resolution intro number 285, entitled Amending Chapter 357 of the Monroe County Code to provide a tax exemption for surviving spouses of police officers killed in the line of duty, be lifted from the table.
Second.
Moved by legislator Barnhart, seconded by legislator Mafucci. This is to lift from the table. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 6, referral number 26-0182.LL, providing that resolution intro number 285 of 2026 entitled Amending Chapter 357 of the Monroe County Code to provide a tax exemption for surviving spouses of police officers killed in the line of duty be adopted.
Second.
Second.
Moved by legislator Barnhart, seconded by legislators Mafucci, Raskin-Simmons,
And Dondorfer.
and Dondorfer. McCabe. Okay. And Johns.
Second.
It's like 3.
And McIntyre. Got it.
Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 7, referral number 26-0237.LL, enacting a local law entitled Authorizing Lease by Negotiation with University of Rochester for use of space at Monroe Community Hospital for Community Dialysis Unit.
Second.
Moved by legislator Barnhart, seconded by legislator Mafucci. This is for introductory purposes only. Next item.
Item number 8, referral number 26-0237.LL, providing that local law intro blank of 2026 entitled Authorizing Lease by Negotiation with University of Rochester for use of space at Monroe Community Hospital for Community Dialysis Unit be tabled.
Second.
Moved by legislator Barnhart, seconded by legislator Mafucci. Yes. Okay. No problem, noted. This is to table. Yes, legislator Hasman.
Thank you, Madam President. I would also like to declare my interest in items 8 and 9.
All right, thank you. Noted. This is to table. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
Aye.
All those in favor? That was an aye. Okay. Item carries.
Aye.
Next item.
Item number 9, referral number 26-0237.LL, fixing a public hearing on local law intro blank of 2026 entitled Authorizing Lease by Negotiation with University of Rochester for use of space at Monroe Community Hospital for Community Dialysis Unit.
Second.
Moved by legislator Barnhart, seconded by legislator Mafucci. This is to set a public hearing. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Legislator Chardy did not vote.
I waited a really long time. So, legislator Chardy, what's your vote on that? Looks like he might be frozen. We can keep that open till he. Legislator Chardy,
Aye.
what's your? Okay, there we go.
Item number 10, referral number 26-0238.LL, enacting a local law entitled Tax Exemption for Permanently and Totally Disabled Veterans.
Second.
Moved by legislator Barnhart, second by legislator Mafucci. This is for introductory purposes only. Next item.
Item number 11, referral number 26-0238.LL, providing that local law intro blank of 2026 entitled Tax Exemption for Permanently and Totally Disabled Veterans be tabled.
Second.
Moved by legislator Barnhart, seconded by legislator Mafucci. This is to table. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 12, referral number 26-038.LL, fixing a public hearing on local law intro blank of 2026 entitled Tax Exemption for Permanently and Totally Disabled Veterans.
Second.
Moved by legislator Barnhart, seconded by legislator Mafucci. This is to set a public hearing. Is there any discussion? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 13, referral number 26-0244.LL, enacting a local law entitled Monroe County Animal Abuse Registration Act.
Moved by legislator Barnhart and legislator Long and legislator Smith. This is for introductory purposes, and Johns. This is for introductory purposes only. Next item.
Item number 14, referral number 26-0244.LL, providing that local law intro blank of 2026 entitled Monroe County Animal Abuse Registration Act be tabled.
Moved by legislator Barnhart, seconded by legislators Long and Smith. This is to table. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 15, referral number 26-0244.LL, fixing a public hearing on local law intro blank of 2026 entitled Monroe County Animal Abuse Registration Act.
Moved by legislator Barnhart, seconded by legislators Long, Smith, and Vasquez Simmons. Is there any discussion? This is to set a public hearing. Is there any discussion? No? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Madam President?
Yes.
I
Leader
move that
Udelson.
we consider the rest of the agenda as a whole with the exception of the following items, numbers 31, 35, 39, 47, 52, and the MOUs numbers 53 and 54.
Okay, do you have a second?
Second.
Second by legislator McCabe. Okay. Yes. Okay. That will be noted, as well as legislator Hassman.
Thank you, Madam President. I would also like to declare interest in item number 30.
No problem, thank you. The motion is to, everyone in favor? Any opposed? Okay, we move on to item 31.
Item number 31, referral number 26-0220, authorizing a contract with United Way of Greater Rochester and the Finger Lakes, Inc. for the Monroe County Age-Friendly Implementation Plan for Older Adults.
Move it.
Moved by legislator Hasman, seconded by legislator Mofucci. Is there any discussion? Yes, legislator Smith.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to explain my vote. I'm excited that the Monroe County Office for Aging is partnering with United Way of Greater Rochester to help our municipalities better understand the needs of our aging population. One of the goals of this initiative is to identify opportunities for improvement and develop strategies that enhance the quality of life for older adults. My hope is that one area of focus will be transportation, particularly the impact the reduction of RTS services will have on our seniors who rely on public transit to remain connected to healthcare, shopping, community activities, and other essential services. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, item carries. Next item, which is 30.
Item number 35, referral number 26-0224, authorizing contract with Center for Governmental Research for the Conflict Defenders Office Recruitment Planning.
Second.
Moved by legislator Long, seconded by legislator Mafucci. Is there any discussion? Yes, legislator Stefferson. Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Roll call vote?
Mr. Udelson?
Yes.
Mr. Udelson votes yes. Mr. McCabe? Mr. McCabe votes no. Ms. Barnhart? Ms. Barnhart votes yes. Ms. Bartholomew McCoy?
Yes.
Ms. Bartholomew McCoy votes yes. Mr. Baines?
Yes.
Mr. Baines votes yes. Mr. Blankley?
Yes.
Mr. Blankley votes yes. Ms. Bonnick?
Yes.
Ms. Bonnick votes yes. Mr. Burgess?
Yes.
Mr. Burgess votes yes. Mr. Chardy?
Yes.
Mr. Chardy votes yes. Mr. Colby? Mr. Colby votes no. Mr. Cruz?
C.
Mr. Cruz votes yes. Mr. Vecchio Hoffman? Mr. Vecchio Hoffman votes yes. Mr. Dondorfer? Mr. Dondorfer votes yes. Mr. Frazier? Mr. Frazier votes yes. Ms. Hasman?
Yes.
Ms. Hasman votes yes. Ms. Hugh Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Hugh Smith votes yes. Dr. Jeffrey? Dr. Jeffrey votes yes. Mr. Johns? Mr. Johns votes yes. Mr. Keller? Mr. Keller votes no. Mr. Long? Mr. Long votes yes. Mr. Mafucci?
Yes.
Mr. Mafucci votes yes. Ms. McIntyre?
Yes.
Ms. McIntyre votes yes. Mr. Milne? Mr. Milne votes no. Mr. Morris? Mr. Morris votes no. Mr. Sinclair? Mr. Sinclair votes no. Ms. Smith? Ms. Smith votes no. Mr. Stefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Stefferson votes yes. Ms. Vasquez Simmons?
Yes.
Ms. Vasquez Simmons votes yes. President Roman?
Yes.
President Roman votes yes. 22-7, resolution passes.
Okay, thank you. Next item.
Item number 39, referral number 26-0228, accepting grant from New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services for Operation Stone Garden Program and authorizing intermunicipal agreements with towns of Greece, Arundecoit, and Webster.
Move it. Second.
Moved by legislator Long, seconded by legislator Mufucci. Is there any discussion? Legislator Udelson.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to take a minute to explain my vote. I respect the position of my colleagues who have deliberated about this and feel that they need to support it. And I totally understand the position of the many members of the community who spoke tonight and want us to vote against the funding. Good people on both sides of this issue have different takes on it. And why is that? It's because federal leaders have weaponized issues of immigration and public safety and have directed federal law enforcement officials not trained at the same level as our Monroe County Sheriff officers to conduct aggressive and random immigration enforcement operations, too often with harmful or even tragic consequences. I'm not for that. I don't think anyone of good conscience is for it. And that does not represent at all the actions of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Monroe County has been participating in this program for 17 years, as was mentioned several times tonight. The funds reimburse the Sheriff's Department, and by extension the taxpayers, for work that the Sheriff's Department considers to be important duties as part of their responsibility to provide for public safety. The funds are used to offset overtime expenses, and many people talked about collaboration with ICE, increased collaboration with ICE, but this does not change at all the relationship and what the funds are used for that has been in place for the last 17 years. The sheriff's officers, the administration guaranteed us and clarified for us that this does not have new conditions of collaboration. So some of the things that people were worried about in their remarks tonight just are not part of this, such as, talk of exchanging our rights for dollars. Again, there's nothing new that hasn't been done for the past 17 years. If this was a vote just condemning the tactics of ICE, I would vote for it. But it's not. And I return to the information and assurances provided by the Sheriff's Office, namely that the agreement does not obligate the Sheriff's Office to conduct immigration enforcement activities. The agreement actually points out that local agencies are not empowered to enforce Title VIII immigration laws. New York state law prohibits the Sheriff's Office for immigration enforcement duties, and federal agencies can't direct the MCSO to specific tasks that they might not otherwise engage in. In simple terms, if we don't accept the funding, the sheriff's office would continue to perform the same duties, and the cost of replacing the funding would be borne by taxpayers we represent. So I respect the position of my colleagues who vote against accepting the funding in this 18th year, and I would hope they would respect my opinion as well. The ability to respectfully disagree is what our democracy is about, but this has been too absent in recent years. Thank you.
Thank you. Legislator Bartholomew McCoy.
Thank you, Madam President. And I rise to explain my vote, but before I do, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the passing of my uncle, Milton Richardson, husband to Ruby Richardson, this past Sunday. He was a veteran, a Vietnam veteran who served multiple tours and was a member of the U.S. Special Forces, Army Special Forces. He dedicated part of his life to our country, and I'm incredibly proud to call him my uncle. His passing is a personal loss for my family, and I want to take a moment here tonight to honor his service and his memory. I'd like to explain my vote on Operation Stone Garden. I want to acknowledge something that I think is very real. I completely understand the concern and about accepting federal dollars from the current administration, particularly given the policies and the actions coming from the president and his cabinet. I don't take that concern lightly. I understand why people would question whether accepting federal funding could come with expectations or consequences that conflict with our values, our state laws, or our role of local government. That was a concern for me as well, which is why I wanted to understand exactly what this particular program requires of Monroe County and our local law enforcement agency. Operation Stone Garden is focused on terrorism prevention, border security, and public safety. It does not give our deputies the authority to enforce federal immigration law, and Monroe County does not have a 287G agreement with the federal government. Our deputies remain under the authority and direction of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. They are required to follow New York state law, and participation in this program does not require them to conduct immigration status checks or perform federal immigration enforcement. And I believe that distinction matters. We are a border county. We have Lake Ontario to our north, and our law enforcement agencies have to address criminal activity that can cross that border, including drug trafficking, weapons smuggling, and human trafficking. This funding also provides real resources to our local law enforcement agencies, helping to pay for equipment and targeted overtime that otherwise could become a burden on our local taxpayers. For me, this vote ultimately comes down to whether we can accept these resources while maintaining local control, following New York State's law, and protecting the people that we represent. I believe we can. I also believe that we have legitimate concerns about this federal administration while still evaluating each federal program on its actual requirements and its impact here in Monroe County. We don't have to accept everything simply because it comes from the federal government, but we also don't have to reject resources simply because we disagree with the people currently administering them. Our responsibility is to look at the facts, protect our local authority,
Some decorum, please.
follow the law, and to make the decisions that we believe is in our best interest of the people that we represent. For those reasons, I support Monroe County's continued participation in Operation Stone Garden, and that is why I will be voting yes.
Thank you very much. Any other? Yes, Legislator Long.
I rise to explain my vote. My support today isn't passive. It's been earned through communication and observations. Since joining the legislature, and moreover since serving as chair of the Public Safety Committee, I've worked to get to know our law enforcement operations and those doing the work. Going on multiple ride-alongs with deputies as I observed them patrolling our roads and on our waterways, touring the REOC, inspecting our local jail, and connecting with their leaders regularly. The fact is, this grant strictly focuses on public safety, terrorism prevention, and combating cross-border trafficking along Lake Ontario.
Ladies and gentlemen, we listen to you. I'm asking that you allow us the opportunity to speak. No one interrupted you. Go ahead, Legislator Long.
Thank you. It does not empower local deputies to enforce federal immigration law, and I would not support that, and I would not vote for that. What it does do is help our local taxpayers by bringing in funds to cover specialized equipment and overtime that would otherwise fall to our county residents, including where I represent in Irondequoit. Our deputies answer to Monroe County and not federal agencies. This agreement can be canceled at any time. I'm voting yes, and I will continue to watch this closely and hold our sheriff's office accountable. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Legislator Barnhart, then Bonick.
Thank you. I rise to explain my vote. We are being told that immigration enforcement is incidental to Operation Stone Garden, and if it happens, it won't be done by Monroe County Sheriff's deputies. And if it happens, it will be done by Customs and Border Protection. Here's the problem. This grant is for border security. Part of border security is immigration enforcement. And we know how CBP does immigration enforcement. They violate people's rights. They are violent. And if they kill someone, they'll get away with it. Why would we partner with such an agency? It is not worth selling our souls for $160,000, a tiny fraction of the sheriff's budget, for an ATV, a license plate reader, a speed thing, and a lot of overtime. We can fight crime without joining forces with a rogue federal agency.
That's it. Continue, legislator.
Some people say that if we accept this grant, or say no to this grant, that CBP will somehow back off and not do all the things that they're already doing. There's absolutely no evidence of that. It's really hard not to be cynical on a night like this in this chamber. Right now, across the country, the Democratic Party brand is not as strong as it once was. And that is because people are tired of their representatives not standing up and fighting for them, and not standing up and fighting Donald Trump. This really isn't about the ideological debate that we're seeing in the news tearing Democrats apart. It's not progressive versus moderate. It's about who is going to stand up and fight this regime. And yet, over and over again, our Democrats are disappointing us here at home and across the country. They're doing things in Congress like voting to thank ICE. I mean, really? And here at home, they're doing things like accepting the Conservative Party endorsement, a pro-mass deportation party, a pro-Trump party. Our sheriff accepted that endorsement. Our sheriff appeared at a rally back in April protesting the governor's protections for immigrants. And yet there are people here saying they trust him? Why would we trust Sheriff Baxter, who's never even appeared in this chamber, to take our questions on this issue?
Continue.
The people we represent, who vote majority Democrat in this county, do not want us to do this. They do not support ICE. They do not support Customs and Border Protection, and they do not support Donald Trump. They want our immigrant neighbors treated with dignity, and they want their rights respected, and that will not happen with any partnership with this agency. To me, this is very simple. I am voting tonight for law and order. I am voting for our Constitution, and I am voting against ICE. I'm voting against CBP, and I am voting against Donald Trump.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Thank you. Any other discussion? Yes, Legislator Bonick.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise to defend my vote. First and foremost, I want to be clear. I support public safety. I support the Sheriff's Office and their work. I support law enforcement officers having the resources they need to protect the residents of Monroe County. However, I do not believe that every federal dollar is worth accepting. Not all money is good money. Accepting the Operation Stone Garden grant falls into that category. This is not the first time this grant have come before this honorable body. Our records show that legislators have approved this funding for many years. But boy, how times have changed since then. It has been said time and again that these funds would not be used to enforce immigration laws or work with ICE. That answer does not go far enough. I believe that Monroe County should not deepen its operational relationships with Federal Border Patrol at this particular moment in our nation's history. This grant is designed to enhance cooperation and coordination with CBP. It requires information and intelligence sharing amongst those agencies. So this is not free money, as many who support this grant would lead us to believe. It comes with strings attached. This is federal dollars given to us by this current federal administration. What do they want in return? Information sharing, operational readiness, joint activities between local law enforcement and federal border enforcement agencies. And that concerns me as someone who is a product of the immigrant community. It also concerns the many constituents who I represent who have called me, texted me, emailed me, and the almost 30 speakers who appeared before us tonight. With the stroke of a pen, we have seen federal policies and priorities change with devastating impacts on immigrant communities. Relationships created today can be used in ways that were not contemplated when said relationships began. I urge my colleagues to consider the obligations that comes with accepting this funding. Let us give our Sheriff's Office the resources it needs without unnecessarily tying those resources to a federal immigration enforcement infrastructure. Yes, it's $160,000 in real money. Yes, it's $160,000 that taxpayers would not be responsible for. However, Operation Stone Gardens is not simply a check that arrives without strings attached. Our Sheriff Department has responsibilities to the residents of Monroe County to foster a relationship that is built on trust. And trust is a currency we should not spend casually. Just because we're thirsty, it doesn't mean we have to drink poison. Therefore, I, Rose Bonnick, respectfully ask my colleagues to join me in voting no for Stone Garden Grant.
Thank you, Rose. Any other discussion? Legislator Hugh Smith, and then Rose.
My colleagues know how I love to stand, but truly today I do. So I rise to address my colleagues, and I truly appreciate the phone calls, the emails, and the public speakers who have been here tonight who this year have particular concern about this issue. And as many of my colleagues know, this is not a new situation for me to stand and tell you that I'm voting no. And I'm really hopeful that maybe this will be the year that you could hear the words and my plea for you to join me. See something, say something. How often do you see those ads? Our young people need to trust the police more. We need to build trusting relationships with police in order to make our communities safer. I hear that over and over again. But how many of you actually spend time with young people? Not just your own. Young people who don't look like you, young people who don't share your dinner conversations with you. And how often do you hear their concerns about who they can trust? How often do you hear their concerns about their safety? And how often have you had to talk with them and ask them to be brave, to seek help, and to hear, no, we'll handle it ourselves. Well, if you can't trust local law enforcement, then how are any of us going to be safe? The appearance of collaboration puts us all at risk because there are too many people in our community, and no longer restricted to just the kids of immigrants or the kids who have friends who have immigrant families, who are hesitant to pick up the phone. And I say they're justified in that, because I've asked the Sheriff's Department, for example, when the Farm Bureau came and spoke to this body and asked us to be sure that the Sheriff's Department doesn't call, requesting an interpreter from Border Patrol. I asked for the records for who does our Sheriff Department call when they need translation services. And I was provided with data on like 4 phone calls, all of whom were speakers of Chinese. I find that data problematic. Just knowing who is in our community and where our sheriff's departments are being asked to go. I've asked, hey, when our sheriffs call a federal agency, does that call get recorded? The answer, shockingly to me, was no. That seems at the very heart of transparency, is that the Sheriff's Department should be requiring a log of every phone call. So we know, so we can show our community members whether our department is or isn't collaborating. So I think the community is justified in their skepticism, and I think we are all less safe for the appearance of that collaboration. And so again this year, I will vote no, and I really implore you to join me. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Legislator Hassan.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise this evening to explain my vote. I just want to say that I am deeply concerned about this program's lack of transparency, accountability, as well as potential increased racial profiling and fear that it creates among our immigrant communities. After all, we all come from somewhere. I come from a long line of Hogans and Berries and O'Shea's and Fitzsimmons. The Hasmans come from Czechoslovakia. We're all immigrants at one time. I just want to be clear, I support public safety and professionalism and great work of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, but I believe we can achieve public safety more effectively through community policing, clear oversight, and policies that protect everyone's rights. I'll be voting no on Operation Stone Gardens tonight, and I encourage my colleagues to do the same.
Thank you, Legislator. Any other discussion? Legislator Summerson.
Good evening, everybody. I'm going to say some things probably from perspective of 25 years in law enforcement, as well as 27 years with the Homeland Security on the very borders that we're talking about today. So Operation Stone Garden is an initiative overseen by federal authorities, not local ones. And this means that, again, our local leadership should be asking some questions. How does Operation Stone Garden actively align with local priorities rather than those driven by national policies? The decisions regarding the allocations and the deployment of local deputies' time remain under local authority control should be the very thing that we're talking about the most here, rather than relinquishing that. Operation Stone Garden is not displacing neighborhood policing or community-driven public strategies, right? That's what we're saying. But the staffing that belongs to the sheriffs are being rented to the federal government. And right now, we don't have any sufficient clarity on how the decisions translate into local operation and control and deployment outcomes. This legislator must see measurable outcomes in order to be able to say yes to this particular vote. And I don't believe in the last 15 years there's been any data or statistics turned over to the legislative body to show what the operation has done for the last 15 years. Now, I know most of you all probably go out and buy a car or you get a home. You don't sign the paperwork without knowing what fully is required of you and what you will get in return. That would be asinine if we did that, right? So the county supports enforcement and our officers, and I, again, won't have to sit here and validate that I support law enforcement because you don't spend 25 years of your life running through these yards. And we just had 2 deputies involved in an officer-involved shooting, which I've been close to that numerous times in my career. So when I stand up here to explain my vote of not supporting this particular time, I'm not saying that I'm anti-police by doing that. And anybody that believes that, again, you full of crap. So the county needs clear and verifiable reporting. And that's really what we're asking for, is that if you were to partake in this particular venture with the federal government, how do you plan to be partners with the legislative body in sharing information so that we know that when our constituents reach out to us, we're able to give them some information back on exactly how many weapons or how many human trafficking events did you actually stop or the arrests made. That's not too much to ask. How many operations actually have been carried out? Now, again, I went on the website for the Border Patrol, and I think I saw 2 between January and June for the entire northern border. And that also reporting that most of the crossings or activity took place farther north and east of our county area. So, again, in justifying the money, how much actual work is being done in this area? How much overtime and how does this affect the staffing and our sustainability? And I know I've seen some commercials of shortage of officers in this area. So that means that the staff that are working are not only covering the road responsibilities, but then also the overtime for this particular venture. How much administrative time is put into this? Again, there has to be some compliance efforts when we're talking about this grant application. And then the actual operation impact, again, training, supervision, ongoing responsibilities. Are there prerequisites that we're not aware of? If we cannot quantify the staffing and administrative burden, then we cannot responsibly conclude the grant is a net benefit for the county's overall public safety mission. Community trust and civil protections must be documented. Even with the stated limitations, residents may still perceive federal coordination in ways that affect trust and reporting behavior. We need documentation. Safeguards used to ensure operations respect civil rights and constitutional protections. Again, the Local Cops, Local Crime Act. How much are we adhering to that? How much will we be on the gray area with that in signing over our support to this initiative? The monitoring and the actions, like when I was an officer, we had a car beat. We called it car beat integrity. And what that meant was that as an officer, in your car beat, you didn't want another officer coming over and taking a job in your area. Why? Because you didn't know if that officer was going to give the same diligence to those residents that you give. You didn't want that other officer coming over there and cussing out the old lady that you were going over and sitting having tea with, because now you just destroyed that rapport that that officer built. And that's what could happen with these ICE agents coming into the Monroe County Sheriffs and State Police and Greece and Irondequoit and Webster's. You build relationships and they can come in and destroy that. And as an officer, as one who is of color, My generation did not experience necessarily the direct impact. My mother, she drank from water fountains that were black only. My grandparents, they know what it is to have been a part of that sharecropping, right? So I got the information directly from those within my family about the systemic discrimination and oppression. I have relatives who had to leave from the South to come to the North to spare their life just because if they said something to a white person down there, that their life was in jeopardy. So those systemic barriers, those systemic experiences for local law enforcement are still, as I was going into homes, I did not go in as a black man. I went in as an officer, and they saw me as a traitor because that uniform represented something far worse and what they had been told from generation to generation. And so now we have officers who are building rapport and have ICE officers who will come in and destroy that, and it just looks similar to that of the Jim Crow and to that of the brown shirts. Transparency will definitely alleviate that. Accountability will alleviate that. But if we have not made that a standard practice in the previous 15 years, and we have no promise that that will take place now because we have confidentiality, and I do understand that. But we're talking about what is being asked. And that is that the legislative body have oversight. Just like the sheriffs have a job and they're an independent entity of themselves, we as legislators have a job as well. And if we turn that responsibility over to them and trusting that they are going to be in relationship with the ICE agents who are going to be honest brokers, now we have not seen that displayed nationally anywhere. Why would we assume that's going to take place here now? So what I'm saying is not a slogan, and what we're asking again is for facts. What was done, who did it, what results occurred, how success was evaluated, what reporting is available for independent public oversight. We got reporting gaps, if any information has actually been shared. The county cannot verify effectiveness or accountability if they have not been tracking that previously. So if you do not have stats from that previously, I don't trust that that's going to continue into this one if we approve this. So in conclusion, I'm just merely saying that today's decision is not a rejection to law enforcement professionalism or public safety priorities. It's a decision to protect local accountability. I'll leave you with this, because again, I've heard pretty much consistently everybody sharing already that transparency, accountability, trust, the fear of. My neighbor was having some work done on their home and the contractors came out, and then the next day ICE showed up and they never came back. These are not terrorists. These are not gun runners. They're not human traffickers. I say that as an law enforcement officer. I didn't go to Home Depot or Walmart. I didn't go to a lawn service. I didn't go to a contractor looking for the quote-unquote bad persons. It's not to say that a bad person can't take a 9-to-5 and then go out and do other things. But what are we really saying here when we allow agencies like this to come in and operate where they're targeting people that are actually trying to work? So I'll say this. In Romans 14, 16 through 19, therefore do not let what you know is good to be spoken of as evil. For the kingdom of God is not a matter of eating and drinking, but of righteousness, peace, and joy in the Holy Spirit. Because anyone who serves Christ is in this way is pleasing to God and receives human approval. But let us therefore make every effort to do what leads to peace and to mutual edification. Turning down under this administration the ICE grant is not going to cause us to create a tax burden on the individual tax or residents in this community. The county exec already passed that budget. The sheriffs has a budget to work under. They have resources to work under. This money has been extra money, and we know if you go out and you work overtime forever and forever, and then all of a sudden you go back to your regular pay, there's a little bit of a pain because you got used to that extra money. But there are strings attached to this, and we don't know what they are. And we don't know when they'll call for it, but we know they will because we've seen it done in other places. And we do not want to overburden the sheriff's department with trying to cover that grant and their requirements as well as the road patrol initiative because, quite frankly, not addressing these social issues, we are going to have far more crime taking place because people are hurting.
All right.
So I hope that my constituents understand that standing up here and saying no to this particular venture will be something that only happens under this administration because the next administration, I do believe things will change and they'll go back to where we can accept the grant money.
All right. Thank you, legislator.
But for those who did say yes, again, you had to vote your conscience.
Yes.
And I don't believe anybody in this room is perfect by no stretch of the imagination.
That's it.
But I knew tonight that I need to go home and be able to lay down and sleep knowing that I voted in a way that's going to make someone safer at home simply because we're not allowing ICE to operate without guardrails in our county.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Legislator Cruz.
I keep it short in lieu of recent comments, since we're all practically saying the same thing. I have no voice but that which is given to me by the people that I represent, Madam President, and thank you for giving me the time to speak. Based on my appearance alone, sets me apart from many members of this body and in this room. There are a lot of places in the county that I cannot visit without a passport in my pocket right now, without an enhanced license in my pocket right now. Because if I dress a certain way, if I look a certain way, if I don't shave down my mustache, I could be seen as an illegal, right? And that is just cause enough. Stop, search, and if you don't got no documentation on you, book them. That's how we're treating us. That's how we're being treated. I've voiced my concerns about this particular referral last year when it came through our floor. Same way that what I mentioned this year during our public safety committee. And yet I went back to the people that I represent. I told them to settle down, that this particular piece of referral was about public safety, that we needed to place a certain amount of trust within our sheriff, and that we needed to let him time to work. That based on the information that he had provided to us, the limited amount of information that he had provided to us, that I had to tell my people, calm down. I'm going to vote yes on this. I talked to the sheriff. He told me what this is about. He told me what his intentions are. And I must believe that to be true in order so we can move forward working in good faith. He proved me wrong. I got to go back to my people with my head down. After multiple events, forget about the county, my own district. Someone mentioned a guy getting tossed down, beat down. That happened 2 streets down from where I currently reside. And I have videos to prove multiple other events that have taken place in the 21st district alone, where the sheriff's department have been taking place in or taking part in. What they're doing, who knows? Because we don't have any information. We have a sheriff's department who's operating under, who are you to ask me any questions? We are the legislative body of the county of Monroe. That's who we are. The highest office in the land, the office of the presidency, has an oversight, a judicial branch, and Congress. for oversight. Our founding fathers created that for a reason. And I know everybody in this room knows that to be true. How can it be that a sheriff who by himself is elected by the people has no oversight from the very people that represent him, which is the legislative body? It doesn't make sense to me. Operation Stone Garden has become associated with broader questions about immigration enforcement and the extent in which local resources may be connected directly to federal actions. What it look like is what we call it in the street, since I can't use proper vernacular or language in here. What it look like? It look like the sheriff department is in cahoots with ICE. That's what it look like. That's what my people think it look like when I gotta go sit down meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting, telling people, organizations, and individuals to settle down. He got it. Yet they keep showing me videos and videos and videos and videos and videos of incidences. And what am I to believe? Since every time we ask a question, we get shut down, or we get information 3 months later, or we get that this is redacted. We need better oversight over what's going on. This isn't about $160,000 like it was mentioned. This is about what comes with it. All right? And what comes with it is the excuse of the sheriff's department to be able to say, hey, we accepted the money, so we have to take these actions. Those actions are not worth $160,000. I'd rather take $160,000 out of my bank account and put it on the sheriff's office desk, which I have, by the way. I'd rather do that than take this money right now as it stands. Because my people are suffering. And we're done being suppressed and oppressed for what we look like. I will be voting no if that wasn't apparent and obvious at this point. Because this is not about what the sheriff's department can't do or won't do. It's about what they are currently doing. And I advise every legislator who has a legislating district within our borders, who I understand their position wholeheartedly, truly understand their position. Talk to your constituents. They're smart enough to understand why it is that we need to vote no $160,000 when they're not really doing any particular work that would amass to that type of money being stringed along with, hey, ICE gets to be in our backyard. So until you suffer what I have to suffer, silence is not an option. So be with me or be against me. I will be voting no. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Legislator McCabe.
Madam President, I rise to explain my vote in support of accepting the Operation Stone Garden grant. Since I last explained my vote at committee, the misinformation, the fear-mongering surrounding this grant has only grown. Even hysterical talking points have shifted from one claim to another as misinformation spreads through social media. As the old saying goes, a lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is putting on its shoes. So let's come back to the facts. Monroe County has participated in Operation Stone Garden since 2009. It supports our local law enforcement's efforts to prevent terrorism, protect critical infrastructure, combat drugs, weapons, and human trafficking. As the Sheriff's Office has made clear countless times, this grant does not turn Monroe County deputies into ICE agents. It does not authorize federal immigration enforcement, grant deputies federal powers, or require them to check immigration status. Our deputies remain under the direction of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, and those operations do not result in joint federal patrols. Yet a routine public safety grant continues to be falsely weaponized to score cheap political points through fear-mongering about President Trump and ICE. A no vote will not stop ICE.
Go ahead, legislator.
I know, but I'm going to have my time.
Yes.
A no vote will not stop ICE or change federal immigration policy, which has nothing to do with this. A no vote will not make even the specific public safety responsibilities disappear. The Sheriff's Office has made it clear that this work will continue. The difference is that without this grant, the cost falls back on the Sheriff's operating budget and ultimately on Monroe County taxpayers. Greece, Arundecoit, and Webster would also lose access to funding administered through Monroe County. I will not vote to make Monroe County taxpayers pay more because of misinformation about what this program actually does. I will be voting yes to support our public safety, support our local law enforcement agencies, and protect our local taxpayers, and base decisions on facts, not lies and fear-mongering. I yield. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
President Roman, I'd like to speak if I can.
Yes, Legislator McIntyre, yes, thank you. And then Legislator Baines.
I rise, I am here. If I rise, you will not be able to see me. I'd like to explain my vote. It's heartbreaking to hear all of the people get up and speak about this, knowing that my community, for the majority, actually complains that they feel that I'm not speaking out enough for law enforcement. And I have discussions with my community members all the time. I've received about 2 emails asking me to vote against it, but the number of people that want me to support this far outweighs that. I am involved in a community that is of immigrants. The immigrants in my community right now have very strong feelings about what's happening in immigration, and they wish that I would say more. I choose not to because I think that we need a more measured response. I've been on both sides of this. I lived over in Italy as an immigrant for years, so I understand the anxiety that people feel when it comes to law enforcement, interacting with them, even when they're right. I also understand the problems that we have in this community right now with drugs and weapons going across the Canadian border. That's actually a very easy place for traffickers to send drugs and weapons and people. And there are so many questions about human trafficking in our area. My residents are constantly asking questions about what is happening with human trafficking in our area and the exploitation of people. And that is really what this grant money is supposed to help with. I understand there are many concerns, and that the people that got up to speak, my heart goes out to them. But I have to represent the community, the constituency that voted me into office, the office that I currently have. And with all due respect to those in my community that feel I need to be saying more, when I believe in a more measured response, I understand that I must vote affirmatively on this. I must vote yes on this tonight for those very same community members that would be outraged if I didn't. And my dedication is always to voting the way that the majority, I understand the minority that would want me to vote no, but I have to vote the way that the majority of my community would like me to vote. They want me to vote for fiscal responsibility, and they want me to vote in any way that I can to keep drugs, especially with how many people in my community have been affected by drugs. It's crazy. Drugs and weapons and human trafficking to be regulated as much as possible. So that is why I will be voting yes to this evening. Thank you. I yield.
Thank you. Ma'am, can you please stop, or I'll ask you to leave. You keep doing it, and I've asked multiple times. Thank you. I'm talking to the woman next to the man in the hat. Thank you very much. In the last row. Thank you. All right. Yeah, Legislator Baines, thank you. Trying to get a little.
Thank you, Madam President. And I rise to explain my vote. So what happens after we stick it to Donald Trump and we vote no? What happens when the sugar high subsides and the media coverage ends in a day or two? What we've done is we've eliminated a border town. We're a border town on an international border with Canada. We've eliminated a program where our local law enforcement, these are police officers in the town of Webster, police officers in the town of Irondequoit, police officers in the town of Greece, and Monroe County Sheriff's officers, our neighbors who know our community. We vote no and we eliminate their presence as border protection, which is what this is. And we've really stuck it to Donald Trump, and we feel really good about ourselves. But here's the problem. Donald Trump has made it very clear, and he's already demonstrated this by his actions along with his sycophants, that he will punish Democrat states who don't vote for him, that he'll punish politicians who don't support his election denying. We happen to have one here. He's a friend of mine named Joe Morelli. He represents this county. This county is a Democratic enclave. So my question then is do we want ICE here coming in and replacing the 4 local agencies who for 17 years have done what they said they would do, which is basically be visible and make that visibility a deterrence. I really wish there weren't $164,000 involved because I could care less. I would vote for this if there were no money involved, because I don't want federal agents in this county stopping boats on Braddock Bay, stopping small craft, operating with masks on, when we have our local law enforcement that are responsive to our needs. If you don't think the sheriff of Monroe County is responsive to our needs and his deputies, good luck when the federal agents come in here to replace them. So don't be naive, because the policy of outrage is it's a high. But the policy of outcomes, I listen to you all night. I'm a legislator, I have the right to speak.
There you go.
Yeah,
I
right.
was trying to figure out who it was. Thank you.
The policy of outcomes is the policy that interests me. And that's why I'm voting yes to keep the feds out and the local law enforcement in. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other discussion from legislators? Yes, Legislator Morris.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise to explain my vote.
I don't want to clear the gallery.
I've read the referral a number of times, and it clearly states exactly what this funding is for. It is to support the overtime, benefits, and equipment for the Monroe County Sheriff's Department, for the men and women who protect our citizens, our neighborhoods, and our communities in their duties. It's as simple as that when you look at what this referral says this funding is for. So I am going to vote yes to support the men and women in law enforcement who protect our neighborhoods, who protect our residents and our families, and give them the tools, approve for them to have the funding for the tools that they need to do their job. It's as simple as that for me. I would like to believe it should be as simple as that for all of my colleagues. I will be voting yes to support the men and women in law enforcement. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Yes, Legislator Jeffries.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise to explain my vote. Operation Stone Garden is a grant that is administered by FEMA and Customs and Border Protection. Monroe County has received funding from this grant for many years under multiple administrations and has provided meaningful support to the Sheriff's Office through overtime, equipment, and other public safety activities. That funding has supplemented the Sheriff's budget and in turn has helped limit what we have to fund through local tax dollars. My concern is not with how this grant has historically been used. My concern is with accepting it now, given the federal environment that we are operating in today. We have to recognize that federal grants do not exist in a vacuum. The current administration has demonstrated that it is willing to change federal funding priorities and conditions to advance its policy objectives. Once we accept federal dollars and incorporate them into our local budgets, we take on some risks that we do not control. I also know that many of my constituents have contacted me specifically because they do not believe we should accept this spending in the current environment, and those voices have helped me make my decision. The question isn't whether this is useful funding. It is whether the benefit of taking this money now is worth the uncertainty that comes with accepting it under the current federal administration. And for me, it's not. I recognize the value of this grant, and I recognize that walking away from this funding creates budget challenges for the Sheriff's Office and for our deputies. I understand that the Sheriff's Office will now have to find other ways to fund this work if this grant does not pass. And I am sorry that my vote contributes to that pressure. However, we should not make ourselves dependent on federal funding simply because it's been available to us in the past. If the federal government changes the terms of the relationship, we should be in a position where our local public safety operations are not forced to change with it. I will be voting no. Thank you, and I yield my time.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, I will explain my vote. I truly want to thank everyone for their consideration, conversations circling and around Operation Stone Garden. And I truly would like to take a moment to explain why I recognize that given the actions of agencies under the Department of Homeland Security, there are really understandable concerns surrounding any action associated with the department and our current federal administration. As I did last year, I want to be clear about what is actually before this legislature tonight. This legislation accepts funding for Operation Stone Garden, a grant to support law enforcement operations along our region's border. It provides resources to Monroe County Sheriff's Office and our local law enforcement partners in Greece, Arundequoit, and Webster. I think it's important to put this vote in context. The funding before us is part of nearly $140 million in federal FEMA funding coming to New York for emergency preparedness, counterterrorism, and disaster response. Operation Stone Garden represents approximately $2.67 million of that statewide, with Monroe County receiving $161,000. But if you're actually paying attention, doing the work, you know that this is not the only grant that comes through FEMA to Monroe County. And these federal dollars administered through New York State's Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services come with specific requirements of how they can be used. Therefore, whatever one's position on this program, we should be clear about what we are actually voting on, where the money is coming from, and what those funds are authorized to support. Furthermore, New York has enacted the Local Cops Local Crime Act. That law places clear restrictions on the use of local law enforcement resources for federal civil immigration enforcement. Operation Stone Garden does not empower local law enforcement agencies to enforce immigration laws. Any public comment to the contrary is false and, in my opinion, irresponsible. So, to my community, please know this. If I do become aware that this grant, any resource, or any local law enforcement personnel are being used in violation of the state law, I will be the first person to pick up the phone and call the Attorney General. That does not solely have to do with Operation Stone Garden funding. As for me, accountability must apply regardless of where the funding is coming from. So as we vote, we cannot ignore the legitimate public safety purpose of this program. Operation Stone Garden is designed to strengthen coordination among local, state, and federal law enforcement along our borders, of which we are a border territory. These corridors are used to traffic drugs, guns, and human beings. Those crimes, investigating them and stopping them is the responsibility of our deputies. As you all know, here in Rochester, we're averaging roughly 2 victims of gun violence weekly. Therefore, to me, every illegal firearm that we can prevent from entering our community is one less weapon that can be used to take a life. Operation Stone Garden continues to provide funding for local enforcement agencies to support additional tools to disrupt and combat trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. We either accept this funding, like we do all similar funding, or fund it locally and divert those funds from other departments and local resources. I believe we have the responsibility to use these funds for their intended purpose, provided it be administered lawfully and for the public safety purposes of which we are potentially approving. I do believe we can continue to protect our immigrant communities, uphold the law, and make sure the people we ask to keep us safe have the continued resources to do their work. And for those reasons, I am voting yes again on this particular referral. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote. Thank you.
Mr. Udelson? Mr. Udelson votes yes. Mr. McCabe?
Yes.
Mr. McCabe votes yes. Ms. Barnhart? Ms. Barnhart votes no. Ms. Bartholomew McCoy?
Yes.
Ms. Bartholomew McCoy votes yes. Mr. Baines? Mr. Baines votes yes. Mr. Blankley?
No.
Mr. Blankley votes no. Ms. Bonnick?
No.
Ms. Bonnick votes no. Mr. Burgess? Mr. Burgess votes no. Mr. Chardy?
Yes.
Mr. Chardy votes yes. Mr. Colby? Mr. Colby votes yes. Mr. Cruz?
No.
Mr. Cruz votes no. Mr. Vecchio Hoffman? Mr. Vecchio Hoffman votes no. Mr. Dondorfer? Mr. Dondorfer votes yes. Mr. Frazier? Mr. Frazier votes no. Ms. Hasman?
No.
Ms. Hasman votes no. Ms. Hugh Smith?
No.
Ms. Hugh Smith votes no. Dr. Jeffrey?
No.
Dr. Jeffrey votes no. Mr. Johns? Mr. Johns votes yes. Mr. Keller? Mr. Keller votes yes. Mr. Long? Mr. Long votes yes. Mr. Mafucci?
Yes.
Mr. Mafucci votes yes. Ms. McIntyre?
Yes.
Ms. McIntyre votes yes. Mr. Milne? Mr. Milne votes yes. Mr. Morris? Mr. Morris votes yes. Mr. Sinclair? Mr. Sinclair votes yes. Ms. Smith? Ms. Smith votes yes. Mr. Stefferson? Mr. Stefferson votes no. Ms. Vasquez Simmons? Ms. Vasquez Simmons votes no. President Roman?
Yes.
President Roman votes yes. 17 to 12, resolution passes.
Thank you. Thank you. With that being said, we're going to take a 5-minute break. We're going to take a 5-minute break. For those purposes,
Your hands on. He doesn't have pants on. He's walking in. Oh, yeah.
We can go. All right.
Welcome back. Call this meeting back to order. Somebody have it? All right. Call the meeting. I'm here. That works. Thank you. We are now on to item number 47. Correct. Welcome back. All right.
Item number 47, referral number 26-0236, amend the 2026-2031 capital improvement program and the 2026 capital budget for the project entitled MCH Dialysis Unit.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Legislator Hasman, second by Legislator Mafucci. Is there any discussion? Yes, Legislator Smith.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise to explain my vote. As a member of the Monroe County Hospital Advisory Board, I want to thank the Monroe County Hospital Administration for finding a way to bring back the dialysis unit to Monroe County Hospital. This service will be incredibly important to the residents who live on the campus, allowing them to receive essential dialysis treatments without having to travel off-site. Bringing this care closer to home will enhance convenience, comfort, and quality of life, while ensuring residents have a greater access to health care services that they need. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any other discussion? Yes, Legislator Long. Thank you. All right, any other discussion? Legislator Hasman. Noted, thank you. Any other discussion? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, Legislator McIntyre is absent? Yes. Okay, just noted.
Aye.
Yes. Thank you.
Item number 52, referral number 26-0243, accepting monetary proceeds from the sale of Monroe Community Hospital's equity share in the Pandian Optimization Alliance.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Legislator Hasman, seconded by Legislator Mafucci. Is there any discussion? Seeing none?
Wait, no.
Oh, my goodness, sorry about that. Legislator Smith.
Thank you, Madam President. Through the President to the Administration, it was stated during our Human Services Committee meeting that proceeds from the sale would be used to repay funds owed by Monroe County Hospital to the county. Given that the Monroe County Hospital previously relied on the annual revenue from this asset to support its budget, what is the plan to address the resulting loss of revenue and ensure there will be no negative impact on services or operations?
Through the president, we're currently working on the 27 county budget. The Monroe Community Hospital has sent in their request. That request does not include these dollars. So, you know, I don't think anyone is going to be negatively impacted by this loss of revenue. I mean, MCH has figured it out in their budget.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Item carries. Next item.
Item number 53, referral number 26-0265, approving submission of 2027-2029 Urban County Requalification to United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, amend intermunicipal cooperation agreements with participating units of general local government in the county for the 2027-2029 Urban County Requalification.
Move it. Second.
Moved by Legislator Frazier, second by Legislator Blankley. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 54, referral number 26-0266, authorizing various appropriation transfers and resolution and subaward grant amendments pursuant to the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA.
Move it.
Moved by Legislator Udelson, seconded by Legislator Mafucci.
Mafucci.
Reverse. Moved by Legislator Mafucci, seconded by Legislator Udelson.
And Jones.
And second by Johns. Is there any discussion? Legislator Smith.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you to the administration, first I want to thank you for keeping these funds in our community and not losing those back to the federal government. I did have a question, though. I was just wondering if you could explain how the towns were contacted about this available funding and how those towns were selected.
Through the President, Brendan Fleming, Chief Deputy County Attorney. The ARPA team and the administration have been in regular contact with all the towns throughout the process, and in particular with regard to these reappropriations. They've reached out to all the towns, assessed what projects are in place and appropriate for the scope and use of ARPA funds, and reallocated funds appropriately. And they're not only assessing this particular reappropriation, they're in weekly communication with the towns.
Thank you. And just as a follow-up, when you speak to the towns, is it specifically to our supervisors, or do you speak to someone else within their office?
Through the President, Assistant County Executive Anthony Ponzinski-Figueroa, it's both to the supervisors as well as the point individuals who have been listed on the ARPA programs, also at times the CFOs.
Thank you. I yield the floor.
Hey, thank you. Legislator Vasquez Simmons, are you? Yep.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to explain my vote. In 2021, we voted to approve the overall allocation and spending plan of the $144 million in American Rescue Act plan. I was hopeful at the impact that this would have on my community, particularly District 22, where 100% of zip codes are on the New York State impoverished list. Unfortunately, we were not asked for our suggestions on how these dollars should be spent. And the initial rollout didn't address the public health and economic challenges caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. It was intended to. It exacerbated. The lack of transparency and accountability caused unnecessary confusion in my community, where poor to little services were rendered. Agencies were hiring unlicensed professionals to provide vital services. In this very chamber, I was threatened. I was threatened for doing my job. I was threatened with physical harm. I was threatened that I wouldn't win my 2024 election. And I was just threatened because I was asking questions. You see, when the great people of District 22 elected me 2 times, they elected me to fight to reverse the intentional disinvestment that they were subjected to. This afternoon, less than 8 hours before we were entering this chamber, we were asked to vote for the reallocation of ARPA funding. Again, little time was provided for us to do our due diligence. What were the measurable outcomes for past ARPA recipients that are now going to be reallocated? I remain firm on my commitment to serve and continue to fight for my community. I will be voting no.
Okay, thank you. Any others? Legislator Barnhart.
Yes, through you to the administration, I just want to get on the record what we discussed behind closed doors in the caucus meeting today. First, will you provide the legislature with the number of subscribers to the community broadband network?
Through the President, yes, Legislator.
Through the President to the administration, will you provide to the legislature the number of houses connected to Spectrum under that ARPA grant?
Through the President, yes.
Through the President to the administration, will you provide us the next set of desk reviews when they are available?
Through the President, yes.
Through the President to the administration, I don't remember if I asked this in the meeting we had, but will you commit to not giving us the MOU on the same day we vote next time? On ARPA, you know, I'm specifically referring to the next 2 times you said you're coming to us with a more transfer requests.
Through the President, as we discussed in our briefing, We will do our best to the best of our ability as we're doing the push and pull with grantees, depending on the situation for each grantee. We will keep you posted on where we are in that process along the way to let you know when it's coming.
That would be appreciated, thank you. I would just like to explain my vote. Today was really stressful as someone who really monitors this program and cares about these outcomes. I had to take 2 hours of my day that I really didn't have to read 136 pages of desk reviews to try to figure out what all the fund transfers and what these projects were. Thanks to the briefing we had, I was comfortable with it, and thanks to the time I was able to find in my day, I was comfortable with it, but this was just completely, totally unacceptable way to treat this legislature. To come to us the day we're gonna vote. I mean, we didn't know anything about this until like 9 a.m. this morning. That is wrong. These are a lot of fund transfers. This is hundreds of thousands of dollars on a program that has had problems in the past, and it's just so disrespectful to us. And I understand that the dollar amounts are probably changing until the last minute. I understand this is very complicated, but clearly to put something like this together, you've been working on it for many weeks. And I would appreciate if you kept us in the loop and treat us like a true oversight body and give us the time that we need to go through these documents and ask the questions that we need to ask and that the public needs us to ask. So, and just the final thing I'll say is I am voting yes, and I just want to say, reading the desk reviews, I thought they were very complete, gave really great data about the projects, and were really much more thorough than past ones. So I was very impressed, and we'll be voting yes.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion? Legislators Zontendorfer.
Thank you. I actually have a couple questions. In regards to broadband, I think Legislator Barnhart kind of touched on it a little bit. Broadband was one of the most important things that we talked about for communities to have internet access and to be able to connect with jobs and society. Why was there money left over from the broadband portion of the ARPA funds?
Through the president, thank you, legislator. The particular amount of funds that were given back were particular to the antenna side of the program. That was conditioned on relationships with housing developments that would like and allow them to be installed and to work with those individuals. And so the identified areas did not come to an agreement, and so they weren't able to install the antennas. So the connection side of the program is still operating and running.
Thank you. And through the president to the administration, I believe I read someplace that it was the Rochester Housing Authority that you guys, or that the administration could not come up with an agreement. Is that accurate?
Through the president, that is accurate. And we did work with CBN on numerous occasions to try to figure out a solution to that, but nothing was able to come out about.
Thank you. Through the president to the administration, did they give a reason why some of the most impoverished neighborhoods that they take care of and that they house individuals, either elderly or low income, that they did not want these antennas on their buildings to enhance the residents' abilities to be online or to use any of that?
Through the president, not to our knowledge.
It's very disappointing that that happened, and I'm not blaming our administration. It seems like the Rochester Housing Authority kind of dropped the ball on this one a little bit, so I yield the floor. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Legislator Hugh Smith.
Thank you, Madam President. Just quickly, I want to thank the administration. I was pleased to see, as we've been hearing a lot about housing, a couple of items related to housing stability, enhancing those programs, and I really appreciate that, and I hope we can do more. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Item carries. There being no unfinished business. Leader
President,
Nielsen. Yes.
I move that we stand adjourned until 6 p.m. on Tuesday, September 8th.
All right. Move. Get out of here.